Hello and welcome to the very first edition of FBF TV. Very exciting to bring you to this. You'll see us, we're going live on YouTube and on Facebook right now. Of course, we are watching along as the Socceroos take on Japan at the Saitama Stadium in Japan. Kickoff is little over 10 minutes away, and I'm joined by my partner in crime tonight, Christian Marchetti. Christian, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm intrigued by this lineup that Tony Popovich has put up for the game. And I'm wondering if tonight might be the night where we see Australia actually win in Japan for the first time ever.
It would be quite a feat, I would have to say, given the results we have seen from the Socceroos leading up to this. Of course, you're extremely familiar with Popovich's first match, as on frontpagefootball.net, I think it was yesterday, was posted a really in-depth article, in-depth review of how the Socceroos went against China in that 3-1 victory last time out at Adelaide Oval. Just to give us your insights, what kind of changes, I mean, obviously there's a few changes in the lineup, which we'll get to in a second, but what kind of changes have you noticed with Popovich, transitioning from an opponent like China to Japan, as in tonight?
Yeah, so I mean, the main change that he's made is the system, and obviously Australia now playing a 3-4-3, which obviously becomes a 5-4-1 when they lose the ball. So that was really interesting. I think what's been interesting is he's changed the two players starting in those 2-10 roles. In Goodwin and Irankunda are now on the bench for tonight, and then we've got McGree and Hrustic coming in. So I think that'll be interesting because Hrustic and McGree are both 10s. So technically speaking, those roles should fit them better. And then with Goodwin going out, we should probably just talk about the lineup generally because there's a lot of, Luke Bratton is starting. His first ever Socceroos game is away to Japan in Saitama, which is quite a bold decision by Tony Popovich. And then we've got even Cameron Burgess coming in for roles. I wonder if some of these, like Bajic and Goodwin dropping to the bench, seems like it's a fitness thing. It might be... He mentioned after... Obviously, I was in the press conference after the China game. He mentioned about, basically being wary of the conditioning with guys being able to play twice in 4 days. So, and with the travel, you got to remember that too. So I'm wondering whether that's the factor essentially behind Goodwin and Bajic in particular being on the bench. So yeah, I mean, as usual, the usual Twitter discourse around Socceroos lineups. Everyone's losing their shit because Luke Bratton is starting. But I don't think it's, I'm quite intrigued by the lineup.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how they play.
Well, it looks like that obviously Luke Bratton is going to fill that sort of holding midfielder role alongside Jackson Irvine, which is sort of a like-for-like replacement from the last match. We
should mention O'Neill's obviously not fit for the game. So
yes, just getting to that, it looks like it's the most convenient, I suppose, change that Popovich could make. A player that Popovich would be pretty familiar in terms of, his coaching career in the A-League as the teams prepare to enter the tunnel now. And, he'd be very familiar in the way he plays. But, yeah, again, I'm also intrigued with Ajin Hrustic coming in and playing, it looks like, on the left wing, as it's listed here on SofaScore.
He'll play as a left 10. So because McGree and Hrustic will play as attacking midfielders, they'll play in the half spaces. So you'll see, with Hrustic, it's interesting. I got to shout out our boy, Matt Olsen here, because he mentioned we actually posted a clip of this on the front page football socials, but he mentioned about watch out for Hrustic essentially making an impact in particularly the Japan game. And what do you know, Hrustic, after basically getting a minute off the bench against China to waste some time at the end, and suddenly he's drafted in the starting 11. So he scored the last time Australia played in Saitama. It was an unbelievable free kick.
Absolutely. It was an absolute banger. I remember exactly where I was where he scored that goal. I was in the Gladstone Hotel in Dulwich Hill. which is my former employer. And I was hanging around with some of my work colleagues watching the game on the big screen in the sports bar there. And when that free kick went in, there was about 5 of us in the pub that night. Not many people around because I think it was another midweek matchup. I believe it was on a Thursday. And
I think so, yeah.
about 5 of us went absolutely mad, just running around when that free kick went in. I'm fortunate that it didn't result in any sort of victory in Japan, but still a really good goal. And it's just nice to see Ajin Hrustic back in a Socceroos jersey. He's had a rough time with injuries, and yeah, it's awesome to see.
So I'm laughing because I think so. For context, I'm sitting in my lounge room, watching the game on my computer. My mum's sitting next to me watching the game on the TV, and I think she's playing the Bahrain replay. I don't think you've got the right game on. You gotta go.
Sorry. Is your mum Barnaby Joyce?
This is live. Sorting out Paramount. This is what this is.
Well,
this is like
right now I'm live sorting out our stream platform. So if you can't see this, I mean, there's a few of you seeing this. Of course, make sure you're sending in your comments, your questions. We'll get to all of them as soon as we can on this watch log. But this is our very first stream. We hadn't advertised it. We hadn't advertised it for a reason because there are going to be technical difficulties. But we are really, really happy to bring you our very first watch along of a type. It's something that we've been planning for a long, long time. Just a few special shout outs to like Matt Olson, Jake Holub, of course you, Christian, Sri.
Can we shout out you, Jack?
You're
not going to shout out yourself, but I'm going to shout out the excellent work that you've been doing to put this together. It's absolutely fantastic, and you should be really proud of what you've done. Let's get the emotional bullshit out the way, before I start crying when the Socceroos score. So yeah.
Absolutely, just a lot of cogs, a lot of frustration, but we've managed to bring this to you in the best sort of format.
The Bahrain game. Sorry,
this still communicating. This is awesome. I'm so glad that your mother's having more difficulties with Paramount Plus and I'm having difficulties with this stream because it was
must be a boomer thing.
A few days ago, it was going to be the exact opposite. So, Boomer Tui is live. Mama Marchetti is also live.
I don't know if that's coming through. You can hear her yelling in the background. Anyway.
No, your mic is too high quality, my friend.
Yeah.
Look, we just went through briefly with the Socceroos lined up. Let's look quickly as the national anthems look like they're about to be played with the...
That's your fault. You didn't navigate the menus correctly. Anyway.
To the Japanese lineup. Suzuki in goal with Taniguchi, Itakura, and Machida in a 3 at the back formation. Matoma, Morita, Tanaka, and Dan in the midfield there with, I think they're going to play like a couple of wing backs on those edges. Takumi Minamino and Takefusi Kubo are going to be playing as wingers with Ayase Ueda. I don't know how many names I butchered, but there's definitely at least 5, so I'm going to consider that a pass. Who are going to be the main danger men in this Japanese lineup? Of course, danger all over the park, with the quality that Japan possess. But who are your key dangers for the Socceroos here?
And by the way, I'm going to start watching it if I'm looking up, I'm watching it on my TV now instead. But Matoma, for me, Matoma is their best player. He is, for me, incredibly underrated. And is probably good enough to play for someone like a Bayern Munich or something of that nature. He plays for Brighton, but he's incredible. And also, Minamino plays Champions League football with Monaco. You've got
former
Kubo.
Liverpool player as well. Just need to shout that out. That is my club. So
Yeah. And then Kubo's been on Real Madrid's books before. Now plays for Sociedad. Doan's a good Bundesliga player. I mean, in the attack, they have got an abundance of talent. It's unbelievable. So
yeah, it's definitely going to be a hard slug for the defenders in Cameron Burgess, Jason Garrier, and Suta, along with Lewis Miller and Jordan Boss having to track up and down those wings. It looks like, based on the lineup, we could either see a very similar style of play to what we saw against China, probably not taking the ball on the front foot, but just in those tight areas. Obviously, Ajin Hrustic and Riley McGree, we touched on those being interesting selections as the Japanese anthem rings out across the Saitama Stadium in Japan. there was a little bit of a struggle with Nestori Irankunda, like playing in those tight spaces against China. He was taken off at halftime, and McGree coming on really just unlocked the game for the Socceroos. And him
Yeah.
starting, obviously, is a statement, I think, of Popovich looking as like, hey, we want to play our best players. We are really going to try and take the game to Japan. Do you agree with that?
Well, I think the game's going to play out a bit differently than the China game because I'd imagine Australia are going to sit deeper and allow Japan to have more of the ball. Maybe not, but that's what I expect. By the way, that stadium's absolutely packed. And
And a great
I
contingent of
think,
Socceroos fans in there as well. That
yeah,
just
yeah,
popped up
there
on our
is,
Paramount
yeah,
Plus. So
definitely should be
congratulations
mentioned.
to all the travelling support there. That's a really great turnout for an away
Sorry,
match.
just quickly, has your Paramount also just cut to a commercial in progress, or is that?
Yep, that's me.
Oh, okay.
Just a really, I suppose,
Oh, hang on a minute.
awkward advertisement.
Hang on a minute. Mama Marchetti's just realised Craig Goodwin, one of her favourite players, is not in the starting 11.
And tears have already been, falling in the Marchetti household. It's been confirmed with that. With
Absolute
that
rage.
news.
Has anyone checked in on Antonis Pagonis? Is he okay?
Tonight is not SA great for him. I don't
No.
think so.
Oh,
Absolutely.
McGree. I guess McGree's starting, but outside of that, it's not very SA great. Oh, Gauchi is still starting. Yep, should mention.
Gatchis the starting goal. That's an interesting selection as well. I think a lot of people picked Matthew Ryan to come back into the lineup for this big game against Japan, but
Yeah.
but obviously Popovich putting a lot of trust in the young keeper from Aston Villa and with good reason. I mean, he didn't have much to do against China, but I think, in the way he was sort of passing the ball around the back with the defenders against China, he looked very comfortable at a national level.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is obviously a massive step up, but I'm actually, by the way, I'm just looking like it's quite possible both teams are going like for like here as well with their systems, which I think is quite interesting. If Japan are also playing a 3-4-3, to kind of see more so defensively Japan, how they're going to look, and if we're going to see them be aggressive when they lose the ball, are they going to be a little bit more pragmatic? I'm not too sure. Honestly, it's just strange because Japan, if you're looking at it from their perspective, I don't know if they're expecting this kind of wounded beast slightly in Australia. I know we won against China, but still haven't made the greatest start to come out and really sort of, try and get on the front foot, or if they feel like what we're feeling, where they will probably have more of the ball and they focus more on what they're going to be doing with the ball. It's going to be interesting.
I think it is going to be a clash of similar systems, but probably playing a different way. You would probably expect the Socceroos to not have the majority of the possession, play in transition more than Japan, just given the quality Japan has on the pitch. But they're going to be entering the same areas, in attack and in defense.
I just like
Which is going to be interesting to watch.
I don't know if you had a prediction for the game. Mine was that we would like lose 1 or 2-0, but I thought it was going to be basically competitive for like 60 minutes and probably level for 60 minutes. Like, I'm not expecting much in this first half. I think like it's going to be a pretty dull shit game, to be honest.
I think it's going to be cagey, yeah. The first half will
Yeah.
definitely be cagey. Maybe we might open up towards the 60th minute, and that's where we might see the quality of Japan shine through. Or Australia, if they can bludgeon Japan enough with some classic Popovich defensive tactics, maybe a goal in transition is probably the best case scenario. As kickoff has...
Here we go.
Here we go for Australia, and it's long ball, inshallah, from the kickoff. We love to see
Oh, you're ahead of us. You're ahead of us, Stream. That's going to be a problem if Australia score.
Absolutely, is going to be a little bit, because I might go mental.
Yes,
and
you will not be able to contain yourself.
Well, I am a host, right, tonight, technically. By technicality, that I'm the only one who knows how to use the streaming software. But I want to make this very, very clear. I'm not a professional host, and therefore I will be chucking my chair if Australia score a goal. So I'm going to put that very, very clear. Just sort of some quick shout-outs, comments coming through. Matt Olsen, he says, this is so hot. Well, I believe Matt Olsen might just be the most good-looking man in Australian football media. So that's my reply to him. Jake Holub.
Why? I love how we got these comments, but they're all 3 FPF people. Can we get some external comments?
Yeah. Where the fans? Where the fans? Where the millions and millions of front page football fans? Where are they? And
thousands. We can say thousands. We can say thousands.
Truly, as Australia move to get on the ball, pass going out to Lewis Miller, pick off there. that is a really good pick out. I think it was Matoma, and he's able to get a pass down the line. But Guerrier gets
You are
across.
too far ahead of me. I don't think you can provide running commentary. It's going to ruin it.
Well, I'm sorry, but what else am I here to do?
Just vibes and talk.
Vibes. I am vibes. I'm total vibes.
Good tackle by Gary.
But looks like, yeah, it looks like the lineup is playing out. I think Australia are looking a little bit deeper than they were against China, but they're still, having the courage here to pass around the back and use, Joe Gauchi as a ball playing.
I got to have my tactico brain locked in for the first 10 minutes. That's where we're going to learn a lot.
Absolutely. As the ball goes up the field towards the striking positions, as the ball ends up in halfway. Obviously a big game for Australia, right? Haven't beat Japan in Japan ever. Our best result has been a draw in their home country, but Australia sits second miraculously after a really, really shocking start to the World Cup qualifying campaign. Obviously grabbing any sort of points here in Saitama is the goal. Yes.
Well, I mentioned the pod before when me and Matt did the preview for these two games, and Matt said, obviously this is the more influential game in terms of, if you do get a result here, it really sets you up for the rest of the qualifying campaign, particularly now that they've beaten China. But for me, I actually still feel like the Saudi game at home in November is probably more influential potentially than this one, because even if the Socceroos lose here, if they beat Saudi at home in November, then that still sets them up well. The other thing we should mention, I was talking, for example, we were talking on the pod about Australia. I still feel this. I think Australia are going to make this World Cup. But China are not good, as we discovered. Indonesia, we played them away. We played well. Probably could have won on another day. And then now we're going to play them at home on our patch, where I think we'll probably win. And then Saudi are a little bit of a mess. And that's another thing that people aren't really maybe paying attention to is
I think
Mancini is I think Mancini has one sort of angry outburst per press conference now or something. I don't know. This is where maybe if Matt Olsen is listening to the stream, he can comment for us his Saudi thoughts. But
I've watched a few of his press conferences. He looks just a little bit frustrated with the sort of footballing hierarchy in Saudi Arabia at the moment. He was making comments about how, it's all well and good for the Saudi Pro League to attract talents like Ronaldo, N'Golo Kante, but we need Saudi Arabian players playing in the domestic league in order to make sure that they're ready for national team call-up. And he also put emphasis on the youth, Saudi representatives to be getting on the pitch and getting minutes in their domestic league. So I guess that's just one of those things in football, right? You want to have your league flying, your domestic league flying in terms of popularity worldwide or garnering any extra attention it can. But at the end of the day, the domestic league should be serving the domestic prerogative, in which is the blood new players for the national team setup. I mean, national team football is the top level of football, whether you like it or not. I dare say if you ask any player who's ever played for their nation, they would prefer to play for their nation in a World Cup.
Yeah, I think
something like
the funny thing about that, though, is if Mancini was a Saudi club coach, he definitely would not be saying that or care. So
absolutely not. And it is just the position he's in. So as Japan enter into the 18-yard box, Socceroos scrambling. It's bundled down and just gone wide into the side netting. Early scare for the Socceroos there.
You're like 8 seconds ahead of me. He's only just got in the box now, and maybe 15 seconds ahead. My God,
and it was one of those danger men that you highlighted, Takfusi Kubo, who's able to get on there, the Real Sociedad men.
Do you want to pause? Maybe do you want to pause yours? So we're in. No, I'm serious. I don't know. Is that possible? Because you're really far ahead.
Well, I will pause and I will just make filler because Christian Marchetti cannot handle the slowness of South Australian internet right now.
No, there's new Wi-Fi around here recently, so the Zoom call here is working fine. So, I blame Paramount. For everything. Why not? Because that's the popular thing to do.
Blame them for having Socceroos matches behind paywalls. Blame them for not having a pause and rewind button for 2 years. Let's just that's why we're here.
Funny about that? What's funny about that Twitter post where it was like everyone was quote tweeting that Twitter post of like the game details because it had only Paramount Plus as the like where to watch, and it was funny because like it was just a picture of Tony Popovich, and then for like no reason, basically it was like this picture of Tony Popovich was getting reshared, just because the text had that it was only being shown on Paramount Plus is a free kick chance maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Ray Gatt is currently having a conversation live on Twitter about his technical difficulties. So maybe you can join in.
Oh, there you go.
On his what's it called? Thread.
There you go, Mum. You and Ray Gatt, who's a very famous Australian football journalist. You have something in common. You can't function Paramount properly.
Everyone's complaining about the lag, the premium price. It's you know what? It wouldn't be Australian football without whinging. Like, let's just put it that way. I mean, sometimes it's a reasonable whinge, sometimes it's an unreasonable whinge, and that's just how it goes sometimes. But everyone's coming out on Twitter. I thought it was really funny just because
someone should do someone for like any A-League or Socceroos game, someone should have like a Paramount complaint tracker and just kind of see like
the Paramount Plus Performance Index. It should be the Paramount Plus
today we were
Index.
Today we were under 5 complaints. Well done, Paramount. Oh, today we were over 20 because for some weird reason the stream glitched out and showed a random guy in his room or something. Evan Morgan Graham style.
Everyone watching will recognize this, but what do you reckon their net promoter score is? Like, just as a business. Like, are they aiming for above 30? Like, how many detractors do they get every week? Like, where's the...
Wait. Explain that. What do you mean?
Net promoter score is a corporate statistic about how well you're serving your customers, and anything under 50 means you have more detractors than you do have people who promote and tell you good.
I feel like we're 12 months removed from being able to seriously go in on Paramount. I think it's been a bit better, maybe.
And to be fair, look, they've done a pretty decent job. I know it was slow going, but for the price and for the coverage it's getting now, especially what's coming into the A-League this season, of course, it's A-Liga week, the most exciting week in all of football. I think that Australian football fans need to be reasonably content because, let's say it's back on Fox, every single Socceroos game is behind a paywall, regardless. So, it is what it is. I quite enjoy the Paramount Plus coverage, and I'm quite enjoying this matchup as it's just a little bit cagey to start the first 8 minutes.
Definitely. Interesting, watching Japan in possession, they're building, looks like they're actually building with a 4 at the back, and almost one holding midfielder, and then kind of a front 5.
I think it might be Taniguchi just slipping in between Morita and Tanaka there.
Yeah, and right now I can't. To be fair, I am far back from the TV, so it's difficult for me to see numbers. But
I'm watching it on my phone, so this stream goes swimmingly. So we're both in improv.
We're both in unsuitable streaming situations.
We're both stuffed. This is going to get recorded and it's going to be laughed at. And Scaria takes a little bit of contact there and wins the foul for the Socceroos.
Right, how solid has Scaria been even to start this game now too? He is
absolutely,
man.
His read in the box. I was going to touch on it, but we got a little bit distracted on our tangents, as we do very, very often.
I can't believe how comfortable he looks. It's actually fantastic, man.
Jason Garia, I think, really, when it comes to players who have maybe been overlooked in past like Socceroos squads, probably could put his hand up to be a little bit hard done by. I mean, it's all well and saying.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
All well and good to say that in hindsight. He is playing for the Socceroos now, but he's been exceptional for Melbourne Victory for a good number of years now, since returning to Australia, and that has to be said.
For sure. I mean, I think, I don't know why. First of all, like the right back situation at the moment isn't the greatest. It actually never has been. So I'm not really too opposed to.
That's an excellent tackle. That is an excellent tackle.
Fantastic tackle.
It's a
good run by Duke, but unlucky there. Little chance maybe here for Australia to actually get some sustained pressure.
That's a nice little turn by Rusic, but it just goes astray. Yes, continue your point.
Yeah. I think you could just tell in that China game how ready he was for this. Like, he is 100% ready for national team football again. Obviously, he had one appearance against Greece in 2016 under Ange. And then basically we haven't heard from him Socceroos-wise in 8 years. But yeah, he looks really assured. He looks comfortable. I think it's a good role for him actually in this system as the right centre-back. And like last year for Victory, he was undoubtedly one of their best players. He was fantastic. Scored in the grand final. And
Well,
Popovich obviously likes him too, which helps.
obviously that, uh, like scoring in the grand final, and it wasn't just a nothing goal, an absolute belter, like
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah, and the grand final, yeah, that was a cracking
absolutely,
strike.
and just emanated Adama Traore side from Adama Traore, bleh, mind my language there, strike from the week before against Wellington Phoenix. So
Mm.
yeah,
Tackle by Suter.
fullbacks who can score bangers. Melbourne Victory have two. Uh,
Soccer is looking pretty comfortable at the moment,
fairly
defensively.
solid, and they're able to win fouls, which is important.
I'm not really like for me. I think is actually a good chance to maybe go forward. I'm not too concerned about the first half. I actually think they're going to be able to do this pretty
Oh, really nice
comfortably in the
statement.
first half. I think it's going to be a case with the focus and the concentration to do it all game.
Well, the press
That's
is coming
yeah.
fast and thick from Japan. The
Oh
speed in
yeah,
which
the
they're
counter
pressing,
pressing, they're super aggressive. Yep, for sure.
and they're definitely taking the game to Socceroos as they should in their home
Mm.
stadium. But for the first 12 minutes, you can't ask for much better. I mean, Japan haven't really broken yet, and I hate saying that because it also means they're just about to do it. The commentator's curse is real, but let's hope.
Mm.
Hopefully, front page football has not got the commentator's curse as of yet.
Well, we have a general curse at front page football, so as microphone's being a little bit weird.
Yeah,
Hang on a minute, there we go.
it also looks
Um,
like. I mean, it's just gotten updated now by SofaScore, but it looks like Hrustic is now just been moved out onto that right hand side,
yeah, they'll probably switch them around. Him and McGree.
and
That would make sense. I mean, both of them are left-footed, so one of them. Oh, VAR's checking possible red card.
wow.
Is that a minor check or
I didn't quite see it on the instant replay.
seemed pretty innocuous to me?
It looked fairly soft. I don't think there was much in it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
he's way down. We actually have not addressed this. So the pre-match stuff with the Socceroos arriving late to this game, the AFC are probably one of the biggest joke organizations in world football, possibly. Like, I don't what. How can both teams request for the game?
So there goes the chance of our organisation ever being accredited by the AFC with that comment. It's just out the window now.
No. No, okay, probably a little strong, but I'm just saying, like, I'm also referring to like situations like you would have seen with Jane McLaren's club, the Indian club, Jason Cummings' club, Mohan Bagan, how they got pulled out of the Asian Champions League 2 for refusing to travel to an Iranian team to play because of the obviously like the
Geopolitical issues. in that
geopolitical
region.
factors,
Yeah.
that are happening at the moment there. And obviously the club is looking out for player safety, and then AFC has gone, hey, you're now disqualified for the tournament for pulling out of one game. So yeah, and then tonight we had both teams request for the kickoff to be delayed because the Socceroos were held up in traffic because of an accident, and they've rejected it. So
Well, I don't know why, but when I heard that the delay in traffic had happened, first of all, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I think it's the most hilarious thing that's happened to the Socceroos for a good while. That
I love how peak A League is intertwining with the Socceroos the week of the peak A League returning.
There's a chance here caught by Gauchi
Oh, yeah.
fairly easily, but it just flashbacks to when the Western Sydney Wanderers travelled to China, obviously for the semi-final of the Asian Champions League back in 2014, and their bus actually had an accident because there was obviously some really
Was that in the semi-final or the final where like someone crashed into them on purpose?
I believe that
right?
was a semi-final in Shanghai Shenhua, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh,
Semi-final or quarter-final.
good move potentially. Here we go.
Might
Ooh.
have to be corrected by someone in the chat here, but Australia progress up the field in a good attacking position. Can they find anything of substance in the pass? Just goes a little bit wayward there.
That is an interesting pass. That's by Lewis Miller.
Yeah, interesting pass to nobody there.
This is
buddy.
not what you want. And now Japan are in transition.
I love a big Harry Suta slide tackle straight up. Let's get it. I love it. Every time it happens, I'm out of my chair.
What's going on? Are we because the China game? No one really pointed out like how the tackle we made about 15 seconds after Australia scored, and the
Yeah.
ball was played over. Dane left it.
Look,
Fernandinho was in, and Suter made a Tunisia tackle, and then we just see another one there.
yeah,
I mean, he
well,
just loves it,
I
doesn't he?
just, I just, I just want to say, like, if it wasn't abundantly clear by his 6'5" stature, he is fucking massive. Like, oh my goodness, and
Update. Australia have had 32% of the ball in this game,
I love
so
it. I love it.
yeah,
This is Aussie DNA
it's
stuff
playing
right
out
here,
pretty much as expected. Yeah,
as expected. This is the second. Like, I gotta say, we said it before we went live, and I want to bring it up again. You know, if there was ever a team to get a result after being stuck in traffic and not getting to the stadium on time and then being denied the right to maybe, hey, can you just delay it so we can, I don't know, get a proper stretch in and some proper physio before we go out on the pitch?
can we just do a couple of like lines up and down,
Yeah,
like just
few
kind of
rondos. Do we have time
yeah,
for
like
rondos?
a couple of rondos as well.
And it's
Yeah.
just like, nope. It's like, if there was ever a team to get a result out of that game, it's the fucking Socceroos. All right, let's.
Well,
put
yeah,
it
but
that
you're
way.
talking. I mentioned this to you before. You're talking about Aussie DNA right now, and we are not in the Aussie DNA era anymore. That is over. We're in the Popovich era. This is different.
I don't feel like
This is Croatian Aussie DNA. It's a mix.
it's a mix. Does that mean that stigmas are included?
You have to ask Marco Rudin.
I
Yeah.
love Australian football.
Oh man.
Aussie Scout
Um,
just on Twitter to highlight this. There's a
Oh yeah. Should be checking Twitter.
Aussie Scout just going. There's a clear skill gap between these two teams, and if we want to progress as a footballing nation, we need to be prepared to admit that. I don't think.
Well, he's right. No, he is right.
He's absolutely right, but I don't think anyone.
Sorry, he or she. Not sure if yeah.
Yes, they. My bad. Yeah, I did. Again, like, they're right, but I don't know if anyone's, like, you know, kidding themselves that Japan are less skillful than Australia. It's abundantly clear, and has been abundantly clear for the best part of 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think. No, my thing is more like I don't think anyone. Well, I'd like to think most of people who follow, Australian football very closely now can see that there's a clear gap between these two teams. But I think it's more like, for some weird reason, people say or people believe that there's a gap between these two teams, but then also feel the Socceroos should also beat China 7-0, like Japan do. So you can't, like, those two things can't be right. If you think that there's a gap between the teams, well, we're obviously not the same dominant level.
Getting on the front foot here,
Yep.
in a decent position, goes across goal. That's a really good defensive move by Suter. Great read
Yep.
on that cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, look, if there's, and I think everyone's said it multiple times, Paul Williams actually did a really, really good article today.
I've got to read that. Yeah, I've got to read that.
I think it was in
The Guardian, I believe.
The Guardian, yeah, Australia,
Yeah.
about how Japan should be the model of how our football should really get a move on. As Japan
God.
really build a bit of pressure on the edge of the 18-yard box and show some of that quality we're just talking about here.
Is this Doan?
And
No, Kubo.
that cross has sailed over for a throw-in down in the corner, which is...
Things are getting a little bit... Jesus Christ, we're only 19 minutes in this game. I tell you, it feels like a long 19 minutes.
Yeah,
Maybe because we've been talking, but it does feel like a long 19 minutes.
well, it's always a long 19 minutes when we're talking, so...
That is true. That is true. I mean, we released part 1 today of our A-League men's season preview pod with the GOAT, Petr Petrov. And that recording in total was like 2 hours 40. That's why we decided, we're going to have to release this in 2 parts. So, yeah. Definitely. I'm
still mad about that. I'm still mad about you didn't invite me on the podcast with my hero and inspiration, Petr Petrov. I'm absolutely livid.
Okay, this is segueing into the conversation we said we were going to have about if you are a pure football tactical or not.
I am the most tactically minded of the front page football family. What are you talking about?
That is incorrect.
My nuanced takes on Australian football have seen me great fame and
Yeah,
accumulated.
but I told you.
At
before.
least 150 followers worth of bots. Thank you very much.
I told you this before though. Like, okay, take. I can't believe you referenced Matt Olsen again in this stream. But take him as an example. Mr. Olsen is extremely nuanced with his takes. Comes up with all sorts of narratives that I don't think like many people would think of. Yet I wouldn't think he would have to, if he's listening, he'd probably agree with me. I don't think he is like someone who is known for, that's a dangerous ball, is known for like his tactical understanding of the game or tactical analysis. So like they're two different things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's my view on that.
Look, I'm
Anyway.
known for vibes. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just the place
yeah.
I am in the ecosystem,
Oh,
and
what a
I'm
touch.
content with it. That's a brilliant
Oof,
touch by Kubo.
Jesus.
Some really good defending though, just to make sure that there was,
Kubo looks their most dangerous player at the moment.
absolutely, and quite rightly, like since joining Real Sociedad, he has been really, really
Mm,
good in La
mm,
Liga
mm.
and has been one of their prime
Suter
attacking
kept him on there.
outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Great
not quite
ball.
squeezing up, but it's
Good
good.
work by Burgess.
It's
Good
also
covering.
good to see. I mean, Australia are sitting back a little bit, but they're not sitting, so far back as to give Japan basically all the acreage, the 18-yard box. They
Yeah,
are
yeah.
trying
No,
to
I think
squeeze and play a little bit of an offside trap, which is welcome to see.
it's
It's
yeah, it's
positive.
more of a as it's a good corner. Let's see how this plays out. Okay, they've recycled it. There it's more of a mid block, not so much a low block. I think they're
Yeah,
trying to this is actually a little bit more similar to. This is actually pretty similar to how Graham Arnold set up the
yeah,
Socceroos in games against big teams. To be honest with you, and that's why I'm actually not surprised. But like, look right now, how high our line is. That's relatively high. Against a team
it's.
like Japan. To be fair,
I feel like
so
you sort of have to do it. I think Japan are too fast and too technically gifted. You sort of have to squeeze the gap between the midfield and the defense a little bit higher because you
win that
need.
boss. Oh,
And there's a good win. Jordan Boss down the left hand side and recycles it out. That was really,
oh fucking hell,
really
man!
nice.
Excuse my language.
Luke
No,
Bradley
don't
was
excuse my language. I'm
recording.
reacting to the game.
Absolutely.
Um,
I just want to highlight the most hilarious thread I've seen all night. Evan
okay.
Morgan Graham. Watching this match
yes.
poised as it is at 0-0, I'm thinking the key factor in this contest is missing. The player that will
Oh,
really
no.
swing the momentum is in
Oh,
Australia's
God.
favour.
Okay.
It's sent a crackle of fear down the Japanese spine. Sorry, I'm doing
No,
memes
no,
instead of
that was
watching
a
the game.
hairy moment, and Jackson Irvine is holding his
His rib.
rib.
Maybe got the wind knocked out of him there. Anyway, you guessed it. It's Gethin Jones. Where is he? Hilarious tweet. And our very own Jake Holub has joined in on the action there with a really great picture of the man, the myth, the legend. And
Also, Jake Holub has commented. He's commented twice. He's clearly referring to Luke Brown. He's commented, "Unk about to ball out in midfield." I don't know how. I've probably said
as in like my
Unk.
uncle.
Oh,
Unk, bro.
And then
You don't know Unk?
why is someone's uncle playing in midfield? Is he talking about Luke Brown?
I think he kind of looks like the uncle who's like gone through a couple of divorces and just grown the hair out and is like steered into the skid. Maybe has himself like a HSV Commodore. Like a proper midlife crisis car. I mean,
What's your like? Do you think Luke Bratton should be anywhere near the Socceroos setup? I mean, he's actually. I mean, to be fair, I haven't really seen much of him in the first half so far. To be fair, I don't think there's really been opportunities to see him. Like, I think one thing I guess that's a good benefit of him playing is that it's pretty clear after this now that Popovich lays down a marker that like no one is actually entitled to minutes, which I think is a positive for
yeah,
sure.
I will.
Yeah.
I have to be fair to Popovich.
Why is the front page football account liking comments like why is someone's uncle playing?
I'm liking comments. I'm just liking all the comments because I love any interaction.
You're liking it for the interaction, not so much for the opinion.
No. I would say that looks like maybe a second cousin, not an uncle. That's my response.
Also, did you know? Funny thing about Luke Bratton. Well, it's actually not Luke Bratton. It's Nathan Bratton. Luke's actually his middle name. He's got he's in the Carl Viet school of my middle name's actually no. I'm known by my middle name.
So he's my grandfather. Just to get away off topic there. So it's not an unusual thing. I feel like I was going on some sort of actual nuanced point here before you got me distracted with Luke Bratton, his name, and me liking comments on our Facebook, which we want every single comment. Ask us questions, please. Any interaction, we need it, obviously. But Luke,
I just had to laugh about the why someone's uncle playing a midfield comment. That's all.
Stephen, I can't say that. Nguyen. I'm so sorry, man.
Nguyen.
Okay, I'm so
Probably.
sorry.
Is a Nguyen?
Absolutely. He says, "Are you guys happy with the draw tonight?" Yes. Full stop. Absolutely. This is a game realistically.
We will take it.
This is a game realistically that a draw feels like a win.
Oh, Gary's copped that.
And if we can get through 90 minutes and get a point out of it, and stay within the top two, of the current
Yeah.
qualifying group. It
Well,
is the
who
best
actually?
benchmark
I was
for
going to check
Australia.
this like earlier today at
Uh,
some stage, but
I was going to make a
what are the
comment
other
about Luke
games?
Bratton. I think what
Yes,
Popovich was
sorry.
going with, obviously with the selection, is someone who has played minutes leading up to this round of
Hmm.
qualifying, and that's obviously the the drive behind pushing Jason Garrier, Daniel Arzani. I mean, not that there was a lot of options at Jason Garrier's position after Kakachi's injury, unfortunate injury that sees him out for the rest of the season, but
Oh, yeah.
um,
Yep.
Velupale as well, who scored on debut against China. So,
Hmm.
um, with that selection, I'm not actually mad about it. I think it shows a detail. I think it actually shows just like a realistic view of how Popovich wants to select his squads, and he's going to select his squads based on minutes, not based on
I
prestige.
think I feel with this squad he did that in particular because he didn't like I don't he just been in this he hadn't been in the role for that long and probably he felt let me take basically the seasoned guys who have been here for quite a while and probably combine it. If I'm going to bring guys up for the A League too, he also made a point about this. Like, he basically brought only Victor and MacArthur players because they made the Australia Cup final. So they've been playing competitively every week leading up to this window. So that was essentially why he did that. Um, I think, I think what people I feel are probably rightfully saying is like, yeah, I think could Max Ballard be in the Brown role instead? Yeah, probably. And it gives an option to a younger player, an
And also
opportunity to a younger player
the
to, yeah.
omission of someone like Josh Nisbet as well, who's playing out for Ross
Yes.
County, was highlighted.
See,
And
you say that, but I don't feel like how would Nisbet really be effective in a game like this, right? Probably not. Like Australia are just defending and they're relying on counterattacks, you know? So,
you note the injuries and you note the omissions, and there are a little bit of critiques there, but realistically, like I'm pretty sure Ballard would have had to come into the squad from Europe with only about 2 days before that Chinese game. I think he did
yeah.
say that, highlighted that in the press conference. So he could have come in underdone. Jake again, continuing this Bratton tangent,
Jake
starting.
really loves FPF TV. He is
He
all
loves
in.
it, and he's not
Really.
biased at all. We are not affiliated with anyone named Jake Holub. We are
Yeah, we
affiliated
don't
with.
know. We definitely did not share a podcast today that had a Jake Holub on
No,
it.
that was
That's for
Jacob
sure.
Holub, a completely different guy.
Yes, Jacob
Absolutely,
Holub is completely different to Jake Holub.
exactly.
Agreed.
It's like Batman, Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like completely different person. Don't worry. Like don't worry about it. Just stop asking questions. Why is everyone asking about if Jake
So
Holub
I'm
is
just sorry.
affiliated?
One thing, I'm just looking at Gouchy almost gets pressed, but just that little kind of few seconds there. That's where Australia could have success if they're able to, in possession, break the first line of pressure. They've done it a couple times, and they actually kind of found the tens, and then looked somewhat threatening going forward. But
It's
if they
actually
can't do that, then we're not really going to be doing much going forward tonight
What
from the
what
looks
I've
of things.
noticed as well is Japan, just because they are pressing so highly, they're forcing Australia to move the ball a lot quicker than they did in the first half against China, and that's welcomed. I think. I think that putting the emphasis on Australia to try and get in that gap between the midfield and the defenders quicker is something we need to start doing against not just teams like Japan, but teams like Indonesia, teams like Bahrain, teams like China, where in realistically we should be winning. Moving that
Yeah.
ball in transition from defense into those gaps in between the defenders and the midfielders of the opposing side, I think is something that was lacking against China in that first half. But in the second half, obviously, our fortunes turned around. It took a Craig Goodwin worldie, but as soon
Go
as
on,
that goal
go on,
went
boss.
in, and Boss with a really, really
Oh
good
my god.
tackle there. Fantastic wrong by
Oh.
Jordan Boss, and that's a really good tackle. A good defense, but an awesome run by Jordan Boss. You can see why he's started this match against Japan.
And we won't see Australia enter the box for another 25 minutes after that.
But it gives us good time to just look at memes. So I'm not exactly unhappy about that because obviously whenever Australian football is live on Twitter, the everything is flowing and flowing with the amount of Aussie DNA that is required for such an occasion.
Can you stop mentioning Aussie DNA? This is not Graham Arnold's team anymore, man.
I don't
It's
care.
over.
I love it. I love it.
I know
too
you love
much.
it, but it's over. It is over.
It's never
Um,
over. It's not over until I say it's over.
Hey, the Socceroos Active Support officially thanked Graham Arnold at the Adelaide game, which means that even they're moving on. So, you know,
Look, remember on a pod where I thought Leo Arquois was still playing for Western United? All right, I'm still in that mindset. All right, I don't care. I don't move
Where,
on.
what you referenced this before? I have no recollection of this at all. I don't.
There's a podcast where we're talking about Western United in that massive half-season review that we did that was like about
Oh my
3
god!
hours long.
That was
And I was
that's
still
like
under the
that's
impression
torture. I think
that,
I'm still recovering from that.
that Leo Lacroix was still a Western United player when in fact he'd been in Romania for about 6 months at that point. He's still there.
You're gonna watch like Ibasuki for Western this season, and you're gonna be like, wait, I thought Prijovic left Western. I'm confused.
Yeah, where's Previc? Where's he gone? Where's he gone? I'm gonna be watching.
No, because they're such similar strikers. You're like gonna be thinking like Prijovic is still there, even though he hasn't been there for 2 years.
He just shaved his head.
Popovic has been pretty vocal with the fourth official tonight.
You love to see it. I love it.
Mate, I would not want to be that fourth official on the end of that death stare.
Oh, I've been in a press conference with Tony Popovic, and he's a nice guy, but he is extremely intimidating. Like
he has got incredible he has got incredible supervillain aura.
Yes.
Like it is if Australia were to lose this game 3-0 somehow tonight in the which it doesn't look like, is possible. You just can't we can't get the ball into Duke or the tens. It's a real issue.
It's like Bane, sort of. It's just like, he won his Champions League, so it's like the meme. It's like, you merely adopted the Asia, but I was born in it.
we can't start doing Batman memes, otherwise the people listening aren't just gonna vibe as much with it.
Oh, why not?
That's more of a me and you thing.
Shannon, chiming in on Facebook here. Nathan Luke Bratton masterclass incoming. Absolutely. And we're here for it. We are here
Good
for
old Nathan Bratton and Thomas Viet.
Absolutely.
God, I love it.
And Mike Twohill. His first name's Warren.
Your poor granddad has absolutely no idea that you're like making fun of his.
I'm not making fun of him. He's one of the greatest men I've ever known.
Fuck.
Oh, and that's close from Japan. Just trying to bend it around.
Matoma.
We said how dangerous he is. He's really good at cutting in on his right foot as well.
Mm. Oh, I know. He is. That's actually like probably his best skill. He's like his ball manipulation and tight spaces and stuff. It is like second to none. Because I watched him recently, Chelsea against Brighton, and he was fantastic. Lucky that didn't hit Gary's arm, by the way. Surely wouldn't have been a pen. Arm was by his side.
Also got a question coming in via the YouTube. Make sure you go search us up, Front Page Football on YouTube. We will put the links on all of our socials in due time. And to keep up to date with all these streams on multiple platforms. Genmul Balandres says, "G'day guys, not about this game, but whenever I see Kim Min Jae, all I hear about him is negative stuff. Is he really doing that poorly? Do you care to answer, Christian?"
Isn't Kim Min Jae the Bayern Munich defender who has... Why are we being asked about Kim Min Jae's performances? I'm very confused.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. He did say it has nothing to do with this game.
He did. Yeah, he did say that.
He did preface that. There was context to this, Christian. I asked you because I have no idea what the public perception of Kim Min Jae is, and I really don't have a lot to add. I'm sorry again, Will. I
don't. I can only recollect like something where Tuchel... No, was it at the Champions League semi-final last year against Real Madrid where Kim Min Jae, I think, was at fault for both goals, and then Tuchel, sort of had a crack at him after the game, maybe, is a recollection. But the problem isn't Kim Min Jae, he's South Korean, right?
Yeah, South Korean, I believe, yeah.
So they're not in our group, so I don't care. That's kind of my thought process with that. So, yeah.
We really do appreciate the question, again, Will. We really do.
We do.
But Front Page Football... is a little bit, I suppose, tunnel vision in its coverage. But, maybe it's something we can explore. Maybe in the halftime break, it'll all be about...
Choose your words carefully here, man. Oh, what a touch by Kubo.
Very good.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness. Bearing down in the
well done. Well done by Burgess, not the foul.
And, yeah, that was really good by Burgess.
That's a foul. That's a foul, man. Good.
Again, Japan's starting to build some pretty decent attacks now. Yeah. Australia still managed to stay strong. That's really good by Cameron Burgess, just not to foul.
No, he could have easily fouled. That's like if he makes any contact there, that's an easy pen.
If Doan
I
just
feel like
stops and puts his body into Burgess, could very easily be a
yeah,
penalty
oh
conceded
yeah,
situation.
yeah. I feel like we're getting a little bit too close to clinging on territory as opposed to like comfortably defending territory. So yeah, a little bit worried about the next 10 minutes, but I mean, at the end of the day, like still Japan haven't created anything clear cut from memory anyway. So Gachi hasn't had to make a save, has he?
Well,
I
he's
don't.
made a few saves, but nothing that's troubling
No, not
him.
like
Yeah,
yeah, like maybe balls in his hands and stuff.
no,
That's I don't even count that.
nothing
So
quite troubling. Gemil Belandri's replies on Twitter. Front page football is a bit vanilla, and yes, we are. Uh,
yes, we are.
yes,
I
we
don't
are.
actually know what that means, but I'll agree with it.
Not spicy would probably be the full explanation. We do apologize. We really do apologize that we can't comment on Kim Mid J's current perception
Yeah.
in the world of football. It's something we really should be across. Maybe it's an idea.
What's it? What's Evan Morgan Graham? Oh, that was Luke. That was Luke Bradley lost that ball before, where I kind of lost my shit. Okay, yeah,
uh,
that's not helping. Also, Andy Howe, the genius statistician himself, has tweeted that yeah, Luke or Nathan Bratton is the oldest Socceroo ever to debut, I believe. No, yes, older than Bruno Fornaroli. Yeah, yeah, by 22 days. There you go.
I'm laughing at Evan again on Twitter. He's got a
You,
picture.
you are like you have to be Evan Morgan Graham's biggest fan. Like we have to organize some sort of meetup of you two. I think.
Oh,
I don't know what's
is a good question. I love this question.
okay.
Again, from our friend Gemil Belandris on YouTube. Please check us out. Come on the Socceroos. Do you think that the name Socceroos still sticks? Should we change it? I really don't see that ever happening. Like it's been around since like
Yeah,
the
no,
60s.
it's not going anywhere. But one thing I was thinking. No, what was it?
We love
We're
it
at
here in
the.
Australia.
We're at the.
We love
No,
it
we're
here
at
in
the.
Australia.
Yeah, but we're at the Jackson Irvine. It was a couple days before. No, it was the day before the China game. Jackson Irvine did a press conference, and I was there, and I was talking to Lucas Ronaldo, who's Channel 10 reporter here in Adelaide, and some other guy who I've never seen before, but I think he does probably like some other sports and stuff. So, no, we were talking about how like the soccer obviously hits our ear wrong because it should be football. But then I was also thinking like, wouldn't it be so weird if they were called the Football Roos?
Extremely weird.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that would just be bizarre.
And also, it's not soccer, it's soccer with a K
Yeah,
K A
yeah.
H. So,
It should no. What the debate to answer? Sorry. What is the gentleman who has commented the
Gemma
question? What's
Belandris,
his?
who's live with us on YouTube. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
tuning in.
Well, the question that he should be asking is: should it be? Is it misspelled? Should it actually be spelled Sokkaahs? Socceroos.
This is the type of football discourse you get with a live stream, and it's bloody brilliant. And I'm enjoying myself thoroughly, and
This is
I hope you all are too.
this is the type of criticism of Australian culture that you get when you talk about Socceroos and you're around national team games.
Well, I mean, I could go into depth about the cultural cringe that exists here in Australia, but that's a history lesson that's probably served for another day as Japan try to mount another attack on the Socceroos line. Like you said before, it is getting.
I feel like we're too deep. I feel like we're too deep
yeah,
now.
it is getting into a bit of territory that we're just starting to hold on. Right now,
Thomas starting to get his 1v1s. Oh god,
Lewis Miller
it's a decent ball. It's a foul, no? Should be.
It looks like Lewis Miller's struggling to contain Matoma on that right hand side, but I think that Jason Guerrier's position on the inside has been impeccable, and it's really saving the blushes of Lewis Miller in
Oh, Jason Gary's been
attacks.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Miller. I mean, with all due respect to Lewis Miller, him and Matoma is just an unbelievable mismatch. But
Absolutely, yeah.
Burgess is doing it. I mean, Boss has got the speed a bit more to, I think, stick with Kubo, but even he's been done a few times by Kubo. But I think Burgess has done a decent job too of covering. Yeah, him and Gary have done well. Suits has been pretty solid. I think one of the one things I've noticed though, I was going to say before, I think it's pretty clear why Boss started this game instead of Bajic, and it's because he just offers much more of a threat in on the counterattacks for Australia.
And I think also
You can see when he
crucially,
breaks forward, like that's a key outlet for Australia here.
absolutely, I agree with that. And also defensively, I think the pace and like
Oh
is
god.
also just a bit of a concern. And
Jesus Christ, who the hell is this? Oh, good covering Suter
yeah,
again.
very good. Suter, who was that
Boss.
was saucy by Boss. Oh my goodness, we were just talking about him, and he goes and
Oh
pulls
my
that
god,
out.
Nathan! Why Nathan?
Why are you doing this?
When you know what we're gonna do? When he does something right, I'll call him Luke. When he does something wrong, I'll call him Nathan.
Oh man,
Oh god. Suter again? Fuck, he's been good.
has been
Suter, like this is he loves this type of game. This is like
he loves
his bread
being
and
in the
butter.
he loves being in the trenches.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time.
He will stay there for as long as he can. He just loves being in and amongst it. Plenty of action coming his way, and plenty of action to continue coming his way for probably the foreseeable future in this game. As I don't have the possession stats up in front of me, but it looks like it's going to be something towards the degree of about 70-30.
I just saw that Evan Morgan Graham tweet again about Gethin Jones. Are we sure Gethin Jones couldn't have done a better job than Lewis Miller on Matoma? Are we sure?
I want to say yes, and not explore that any further.
Should we ask the Bolton fans? Are there any Bolton fans listening to the stream?
Look, if there are any Bolton fans listening to this stream, welcome. We appreciate all football enthusiasts here at Front Page Football, especially those who
Have been adversaries to soccer Twitter.
and also criticise me and Christian, very closely because all
Have they? Wait, I never got criticised by a Bolton fan.
No, but I just want us to be criticised because I think it would be extremely funny for the viewers.
Oh, the lineup thingy has
Yeah,
done its weird thingy on the stream.
Yes. This is a live stream, and as all live broadcast goes, this stuff will happen, and this will happen.
It's okay. I don't think anyone is going to rage at you accidentally, or whatever the hell happened with the lineup.
No, that's it. They've called for it to be shut down. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Zuckerberg is actually stepping in. He's shutting down the stream.
Yeah.
So
the Zucks, he's on the phone. I've got him here. Right here. He's in the ear. He's telling me, "No, kill it."
I wonder how boring a game would have to be for us to just start talking about non-football things.
Look, I mean, we can always cover a, MacArthur versus Western United game, this season.
Jesus,
I'm kidding.
Wow.
Yeah,
how
I know.
brutal was that?
Absolute. That was a drive-by and a very unprofessional drive-by. I wish to apologise to both parties
Good ball.
involved.
We cannot get through the first two lines.
Tanaka and Morita are picking off every single thing that comes towards the centre. I think
he's tried to is Australia playing in possession very similar to what they did in the first half against China, which makes sense because you need the 2-6s a little bit deeper to get involved in the build-up. But it's Japan their pressing has been very, very good. They've been really ready for this game. Maybe because they had a proper warm-up. Maybe that's why they've been ready.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think as much as the Socceroos are sort of getting into the territory where we're too deep and sort of hanging on, I haven't seen anything too dicey. It's just been Japan are definitely the more technically adept side than the Socceroos.
That's clear.
And it's clear. Extremely clear. But so far, so good. No huge chances having been conceded by the Socceroos. It's been relatively tight.
There was that one shot which went wide to the right. But this type of thing is annoying, like ricochets and shit. Fucking hell.
We got another question coming through on YouTube. This is an interesting one.
I was not expecting this many questions, man. What the hell? Okay.
Our good friend Gemil Belandres is really enjoying this stream, and we appreciate him for it.
Can you go read a couple of articles on frontpagefootball.net and maybe read a podcast as well? Leave a review.
Read a podcast.
Listen to a podcast. No, didn't I say listen?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
We'll check the
What's his question?
His question is, best non-Aussie that we couldn't naturalise or convert into playing for the Socceroos who has only played in the A-League. That's an interesting question.
That's an easy answer. Marin Yakulis. That's pretty obvious.
I thought that was going to be the first thing out of your mouth.
That's That's the one like which first popped to my head. To be fair, Maniacalis could have a very good season in the A League this year. I'm not sure if it'll be good enough to get him in the Socceroos
Oh, I thought
conversation.
in that Australia Cup campaign he was quite brilliant, and
Yeah,
especially
well, we were doing a practice stream for the final,
yeah,
and
absolutely. And we
yeah,
commented on his form, and he looks like he's going to be one of the key players for MacArthur. Um,
there we
but
go, half time.
another one, it is halftime here in this one. I was going to mention another one, but we'll maybe address this a little bit further in the halftime break. But it is 0-0 here in Saitama, Japan. The Socceroos holding on. It'll be interesting to see some of the stats here. But before we get into a little bit of a halftime show, we'll just take a quick break. So we'll see you on the other end of this. Welcome back. It is half time between the Socceroos and Japan in Saitama. 0-0 is the scoreline, with Japan really taking it to the Socceroos and Socceroos holding firm. Christian Marchetti, I'm joined by you, obviously, for this watch along, our very first watch along here on Front Page Football TV. I just wanted to ask, you released a very interesting article on frontpagefootball.net
Hmm.
just yesterday reviewing
That
the
was it was Sunday night, late Sunday night. But yeah,
Sunday
yeah.
night. I read it yesterday. Um,
Most people would have, to be fair. So yeah,
absolutely. Just having a look at the Popovich style of play and highlighting some key,
yeah.
key parts about how Popovich attacked that game against China. What are the key differences that you've noticed in this game? Obviously, a bit more defensively minded against the mind of Japan.
Yeah, so I mean that article obviously focused on the China game and all the sort of takeaways from that. But one section of the article spoke about Australia's defensive shape in the game, or just Australia defensively in the game against China. Different different threat because they had to deal with more long balls, more stuff on the counter attack. But I think, for example, I wrote here, here's a line, for example, like one thing to note, Australia's back five was very cautious in not holding their line too high in the game against China. I think the line has actually been weirdly a little bit higher in this game, it feels, than the China game, because I think Australia must have looked at it, because one thing they had an issue with against China was runners and forward runs in behind from the long balls. They weren't being tracked well enough. And I think too many players were able to break the last line too easily. I think Australia, Popovich might have looked at it and thought maybe if we bring our line higher, basically to threaten offside more, essentially, then it'll, I don't know, prevent Japan from looking to take more risks with forward runs, maybe out of fear of drifting offside, for example. Sometimes if you're trying to take away forward runs, actually bringing your line higher can have a better impact than dropping deeper, if that makes sense. It's a little bit hard to explain without a tactics board, but yeah, it's that was probably a slight difference, and I think the other thing too was that, I mean, just having Garia instead of Deng has been a positive, because I think Deng, we saw in the first half against China, maybe just wasn't ready straight away to get back into the national team fold with a start. Whereas Gary is like, he's played two halves of football now and he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's been absolutely faultless. So I think that's the personnel of that. And I mean, I think that the other one we didn't talk about in terms of changes in the game was roles coming out for Burgess, which seemed a little bit strange because I didn't think Rolls wouldn't have been able to, play a second game in 4 days. But Burgess has come in. I mean, Burgess is on Ipswich's books in the Premier League. He's more than capable in a game like this of playing a defensive role. So,
Well,
really,
yeah,
yeah,
I just like
yeah,
to touch on that. I believe like Rolls had played 3 games in about like 4 or 5 days. So I think it was to do with some
probably,
level of
yeah,
exhaustion.
yeah,
When he came into that game against China. Just to touch on that. It's interesting what you're saying about like the defensive shape. I want to touch as well. Like I actually like expected the Socceroos to sit a lot deeper than they have been.
yeah, yeah.
And that's pretty eminent in the way they've been able to pick off some of the balls and prevent some of the Japanese attacks from getting forward quickly as well.
Yeah. I yeah, me too. I thought they were going to sit a lot deeper. But in saying that, I don't think they've sat very deep. But towards the end of the first half, it felt like they were pushed back. Australia, which is a little bit concerning, because when that starts to happen and you're just starting to naturally move further back and drop, then you're just going to invite pressure and eventually invite a goal. So I think Australia need to find a way to keep the ball better when they win it, which has not been good so far. And we can talk about one or two players who have not done the best with that. And they've got to find a way to get McGree and Hrustic and Duke on the ball and involved in this game. And some people might say, like, it's easy with Duke. I get it. People say he's touch and stuff, and he's not getting involved himself. He needs to be better. But also, like, this is not an easy game for someone in his position.
And
Like, he's basically just chasing lost causes.
and
So
as well, and this is something that Petr Petrov, who joined us on the Front Page Football podcast in the latest recording, was recorded last night and posted today, just highlighted, just as you were speaking on Mitch Duke. Duke's needed in order to win aerial duels or hold up the ball with his back to goal. I think some of the alternatives that are being suggested is like, if you maybe had someone like Iran Kunda in a centre forward position, he's highlighted that he would just get incredibly isolated and wouldn't get a chance to face the goal where he's at his best. So as much as like Duke has been a non-factor on the game, he's there for a very specific reason tactically. Is that correct?
yeah, you're talking about. Sorry, I was looking at something. You were talking about Duke. Yes, you were
Yes,
talking about
yeah,
Duke.
yeah, Duke.
Duke. So with Duke in the China game, I wrote about this in the article too. Was in the first half he was actually dropping too deep, and it was affecting the spaces for Goodwin and Aaron Kunda. But in the second half, he did a better job of staying higher and actually stretching China, and it created more space in the half spaces in the pockets for McGree and Goodwin, and that's how obviously Goodwin got the goal by receiving in that area. But I think in this game it's different. I think that you almost actually kind of need him to be a little bit deeper to get involved in the first phase, maybe pull a centre back out of position, something of that nature, to get Australia just to secure the ball initially. But then it's a question of, does Mitch Duke have the ability to provide that elite hold up play? This is actually where a Cassini Yengi probably would have been ideal for a game like this potentially. But then again, like we saw Duke under Graham Arnold in games like this, be able to get along just fine and play his role quite well. So let's see what happens in the second half. I'm actually intrigued to see if Popper makes any changes here at halftime, and I wonder, like Luke Bratton or Nathan, he it seems like the game's a little bit too quick for him. A guy that's been playing A-League football for like the last 3-4 years, and is still, only the season's starting this weekend, right? So he's basically been playing preseason football for the last month, and he has been playing, but you just feel with his age and stuff, the game is just a little bit too quick in this environment, playing against, the might of Japan. So could he come off potentially? Yeah. And I don't know, maybe Miller is replaced because Mitoma was having his way. But I mean, I don't really like. I'm not going to blame Lewis Miller for being, getting skinned by one of the best, probably, I don't know, definitely a top 2-3 winger in Asia right now. So, like that's a unenviable task for any wing back or fullback. So I'm not sure. I also wouldn't take off any of either of the tens yet in McGree and Hrustic, because I think we just, like, Australia first and foremost need to actually find a way to get the ball in those areas before you think about, any sort of changes to anyone in the attacking areas. That's my opinion anyway.
So
From
yeah,
what I've seen.
so in terms of changes, just to summarize, who were you looking to maybe bring off in the early stages of the second half and maybe at halftime? Is there any changes that Popovich needs to make, a little bit, very quickly to prevent Japan either going ahead with the goal or maybe to start producing something for the Socceroos going forward?
Well, I think 100%, Goodwin is going to come on. There's no way he's not going to be involved at all. So
And it looks like
he'll come on.
Yazbek
Probably,
is coming on for
yeah.
Luke Bratton as we speak.
Yazbek's coming on for Bratton. Is that what you just said?
I believe so.
Wow. Okay.
So
That is interesting.
interesting substitution there. I mean, yeah, like it was highlighted that Luke Bratton just seemed a little bit
Yazbek. There you go.
slow and off the pace, but Yazbek coming on, maybe a little bit of a surprise. Might have seen maybe Keanu Bacchus come into that position. Might have been the more probable.
Weird, isn't it? He
substitution.
doesn't seem to have a preference for Keanu Bacchus at the moment at all.
Well, there was this sort of prerogative that Popper was going to play his favourites, but I mean, he's gone with Yazbek as the second half kicks off now as we speak. A long ball down to the left hand side.
I don't know how many seconds ahead of Are you ahead of me again? Hang on. You might need to pause for a few seconds and play again.
The wonders of live streaming, live broadcasts, ladies and
Oh, brilliant.
gentlemen.
Absolutely.
All right, I've halted it for a few seconds. It hopefully should be okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think, well, there's some interesting stuff here around Yazbek as well, where, obviously what happened with his club recently with the suspension that he got for what was apparently a homophobic slur made in a league game, and now there's a kind of narrative here of, hey, why is he on a pitch for the national team? But I mean, he probably is a better fit than Nathan. I'm going to call him Nathan because at the moment, he's Nathan with his performance.
Well, I mean, you brought up something there, like of course, like that sort of behaviour is inexcusable, and he deserves to be punished and punished fairly.
Yeah.
For that sort of behaviour. On the other hand, too, he is a young guy. Again, like whilst that behaviour needs to be punished and needs to be punished severely, I don't really agree with ending careers.
Oh, no, 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 no. That's not. Geez, no, that's not what I was saying. No, not at all. I think it's more that he's on the pitch for the Socceroos. And by the way, I'm more just talking the
lead
one side of the story here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
More that he's on the pitch for the national team, like basically less than 2 months after that scenario happened.
And that sort of upheaval. Yes. So, okay.
That's it's like the optics side of it, I guess. But really, it's not something I want to really get into
really
too much.
Good tackle by Harry Sutter there, just to halt that attack. And Jordan Boss is released down the left-hand side.
No.
And a nice little turn. Jordan Boss, I mean, we talked about it. His touch is sublime. Like,
Oh, man,
his close control and his touch is sublime.
He's going to be...
He's
you're somehow still ahead of me by quite a bit because Boss just received the ball. Okay, the dog is barking.
The dog is barking at me for being
the dog
in the
is
future.
barking.
I'm in the future. Twohill has mastered time travel
If
here.
that comes through in the stream, just apologies in advance.
No, we love dogs. We are a dog-loving publication here.
Oh, absolutely. And we love this dog in particular, but he does have a tendency to bark when it is not warranted.
And
so
Lewis Miller picking up a foul, just a little bit of contact.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Okay, now we're on board.
Here's an interesting question from YouTube. Different players again, but would you still have Son? I believe he's referring to Heung-min Son over Matoma,
Yep.
and I'm going yes. I mean, it depends. Matoma's
I don't really listen. I don't. That was more of like a rough thing that I kind of just threw out there. This is why if you had Matt Olson on this stream, he would definitely be able to provide more of an educated opinion. But I'm vibes based analysis of AFC wingers. Yeah, like Matoma. I like Son, but then Son. Interesting. The comment mentions Son because Son I would almost look sometimes more as like a striker these days as opposed to a winger.
I feel like Matoma's a little bit more direct, as in like tries to get to the byline and tries to use that space, whilst Son is a little bit more playing as like the inside.
Well, we can talk about Son a little bit because obviously he's working with the GOAT in Ange Postecoglou.
Ange Postecoglou's guy, so.
But really, Son in the last few years has started to make his name a bit more as a striker.
Yeah, drifts more and more central, especially with Harry Kane moving on from Tottenham Hotspur. So that's definitely been a part of the plans up there as the ball's launched forward by the Socceroos.
We get the ball forward or right. Okay, I was also going to check, Jack. We haven't mentioned this yet, but the other games in this group for the AFC today. So China, Indonesia is at 11. They start. That's a pretty insignificant game at the moment in terms of Socceroos. But Saudi Arabia play Bahrain tomorrow morning at home. So
well, as it
that's
stands,
going to be interesting. If Bahrain can shithouse and do something against Saudi, that would be very, very nice. Thank you very much.
Well,
Bahrain.
yeah, we didn't really get enough time to touch on it during the halftime break here, but I did have the table up and looking at it. And as it stands, if this result were to be seen through, Australia will maintain its second position, of course, until Saudi Arabia would come up against Bahrain, which you'd have to assume that Saudi Arabia would beat Bahrain. I mean, obviously, beating the Socceroos, they probably have a little bit more confidence than they're used to. But the expectation is there. Saudi Arabia should win that game, which means Australia will be nestled in third spot in the group. Which, as you said before this game kicked off, those makes those Saudi Arabia matchups over the next stages of qualifying for the 2026 World Cup even more important, because they're going to be our main competitor for that spot that goes straight through to the group
Yeah, I mean,
stage of
yeah,
2026.
yeah. I mean, regardless of what happens here, I mean, unless maybe if Australia win, this is still up for debate. But I think most people are probably accepting that Japan are going to win this group. So it's really, yeah, it comes down to second. I mean, one team we should mention is Indonesia, because Indonesia have actually drawn all three of their games, and they're playing China, like I mentioned soon. I think they could definitely beat China there. Like, the Indonesia could be undefeated after their first four games. Like, they're not a shabby opponent at all. And I know I mentioned earlier we played really well. I thought we played well enough to win away in Indonesia. I know a lot of people had issues with that performance, but I think Indonesia at home is not a given, even though I feel Socceroos should win that game. I don't think it's a given. And, Indonesia also, they were 2-1 up in like the 96th minute against Bahrain. Or it was, hang on, another controversy with the AFC, actually, funnily enough. It was like the 96th, no, it was the 99th minute, but I think there was only 6 minutes of injury time. So, oh boy. Oh man, it's just a poor pass.
Yeah,
Otherwise, Matoma was in. Um,
and
but
slips in the turf
we
there.
might actually let this attack play out. Matoma's
Yeah, slips in the
okay.
turf.
Looks like they're recycling it now. So, but like, and then Bahrain equalized with the free kick 2-2 in like the 99th minute, and basically ever since in the days following on every single AFC post, there's just a whole like millions of Indonesian fans losing their shit in the comments about the fact that AFC let the game go to like the 99th minute. So yeah, we should mention here too, Rafael Struijk, the new Brisbane Raw striker, scored in that game. Quite a nice goal. It was his first international goal. So yeah, Indonesia are an interesting one. Really, really interesting. I think they probably will be. If I had to make a prediction, yeah, I think the top four will be Japan, Australia, Saudi, and Indonesia. I don't know what order though. Besides Japan, I'm almost probably 90% certain they're going to win the group. So they're starting to get back in their groove from the end of the first half here. Oh,
Yeah, as Japan looked to recycle and send it out to the right hand side into the path of Takefusa Kubo, I believe it was. That just ending up to nothing in the Japanese attack. Yeah, I suppose this group that Australia is nestled in, it's not just interesting because there is some formidable opposition with Saudi Arabia and Japan. Like you just highlighted, Indonesia are tricky customers. I mean, China were, playing very well against Saudi Arabia in their last matchup. I think it only ended up 2-1.
I think that says more about Saudi. China are awful. China are poor.
All I'm saying is that it's turning out to be one of the more interesting qualification
Yeah,
groups that we've
yeah,
seen, with some of the
yeah.
the smaller teams being able to take it to the obviously.
Indonesia are a legit team. Like, people should not. I see, we see all these comments like, how did Australia not beat Indonesia 4-0? Like, I don't expect that at all. Like, I think Australia should still beat Indonesia, but they're a decent team.
I'm not trying to discount it. All I'm saying is that it's interesting. It's
Oh
just,
yeah, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the wider,
look.
Twitter sphere
I think if
with
it, I think
Australian football.
if the last couple of Asian Cups has proven, and that's not just at
Oh
a senior
god.
men's level, that's also at a youth level, as Japan look to get on the attack here. Matoma turning Lewis Miller inside out and graciously putting it over the byline
Well, I
for a goal
mean,
kick.
I know Miller got lucky that Matoma just took that one extra
Bang!
touch. That was too
There's a
big.
touch. There's a touch. That's a
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic touch by Matoma, and he just loses it. It was so good he fooled
Pushes it out of
himself.
play.
It was so good it fooled himself. Absolutely. But yeah, I'm just saying that if previous results in both youth Asian tournaments and also senior Asian tournaments has proven, is that there are no big teams that are always going to find success in Asia anymore. The dynamic has changed and has swung quite dramatically, where nations that once, the Socceroos should assume victory over, and now do have to play exceptionally well to get good results from.
Well, I just don't think. Yeah, my thing on that now these days is I just don't really think the Socceroos are necessarily, besides like the very weaker Asian nations. I just don't really expect, like in this stage of qualifying, I don't expect them to win any game by 3 or more goals. Like I think every game's gonna present a different challenge and it's gonna be tough. So yeah, I just feel the wider following of Australia football hasn't really gotten on board with that, in terms of the quality of Asia and like how much it's improving.
Yeah, I'm excited. It just makes these like Asian tournaments and these qualifiers, harder to get through. And there's some people say doing things the hard way, but sometimes pressure produces coal and sometimes pressure produces diamonds. And if Australia has any motive to be one of these big football nations, even insularly within the organisation, they should be encouraging Asia's development, and not sort of growing discontent with the Australian football fraternity, sort of looking at it and going, well, if Asia's getting better, that only means that Australia have to work harder, and
Yeah.
it'll put more emphasis on, governments put more emphasis on the organisational structure of Football Australia to change in their
Yeah.
favour. I do apologise, there is quite a loud plane going over my household. I'm in the inner west of Sydney, so it is a fly path.
I cannot hear that.
It looks like
That's not coming through.
the new mic with the background cancel is working well then, my friend.
Man, Australia have been, that's a good chance
Yeah, it's a decent chance.
for Minamino. Australia have been awful in possession in this game. I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm surprised, but like, there's no hope of actually like getting into the final third. But like, the main hope of getting in the final third is, hey, Jordan Boss, can you go on a crazy run and beat 3 players? Like, that's what it feels like,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel like we're gonna get forward, but maybe we can find something out here. Wait, the scoreboard has just changed. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on.
What?
Australians behind. Australians behind, Christian.
What?
I've got...
Oh my God. What?
Hold on. What's
No
going on?
fucking way.
No fucking way. Wait.
Is it from this? How?
Decent cross. In the box. It's an own goal! Australia have scored!
What the fuck?
Australia have scored and taken the lead against Japan.
What?
I saw the scoreboard change. Our streams are a little bit behind. Both our
I was just about to say. Oh my God.
Goodness.
What the hell?
Oh my goodness.
How the fuck?
Not a very difficult ball from Lewis Miller at all. And Australia have taken the most unlikely lead from the most dubious of circumstances. An own goal for Japan has Australia leading 1-0 on the
Who is that?
on the brink of their first ever victory on the Japan mainland. This is incredible.
I have no words. I'm speechless. How? So, first of all, I was literally just about to say, like, is there a world where we can still somehow shit out our way to a 1-0 win in this game? Clearly, that's now in play. That's a terrible cross by Lewis Miller to no one. And I don't know who the defender's name is. Is it
Taniguchi.
Taniguchi? Why is he not using his left foot there? He's used his right foot.
He's just been, it didn't look like a very difficult ball, but it did have a little bit of curve on it. I guess I saw I was just like, wait, the scoreboard's updated. What the hell's about to happen here? And
Oh my God. I don't think Japan should necessarily be winning this game, but I have no idea how we're winning this game. That is insane.
What I meant is an own goal, and it's a gift for Australia. Whether or not we can, Australia, can see this out. This is wow. This is really quite.
I'm in shock. What?
From literally nothing, Australia have had 0 shots in this entire game. Literally nothing, and they are leading 1-0 through an own goal. This is
and we actually still have not had any. We haven't had a shot on target. Still.
One shot,
not on target.
This is,
oh my God, man!
This is You kept annoying me. All right, you kept saying that it doesn't exist anymore. You said that the area is closed.
Okay, I don't understand this tweet. Aussie Scout has tweeted, Mitch Duke gets a huge amount of unfair criticism. I do agree with that. But his ability and willingness to compete strongly for every duel creates this goal. I mean, that ball wasn't put towards any duel. That was put in the middle of the box.
Jake
Straight to a defender who just sliced in the net. Unless I'll have to watch a replay back. I don't know.
Jake Holub on Facebook. We are winning the World Cup. We love it. Australia.
How are we doing this? This is football terrorism.
And
this is
immediately. It looks like Japan are going to their bench.
Mm-hmm.
As it looks like Ito is about to come on. I'm not sure.
Yep. I wonder if we see, is he on the bench? Daisen Maeda?
Maeda is on the bench, yes.
He is, yeah. I think we'll probably see him at some stage too.
Yes. Daisen Maeda, maybe Reo Hatate as well might come on.
Yeah.
To try and affect some attacking changes. I believe Hatate is a winger or wing back. I'm not quite sure. I'm a little bit rattled. I'm a little bit rattled.
Oh, I'm
absolutely rattled.
I have
in the the YouTube comments, man. F your scoreboard. It ruined everything. At least I turn off my notifications from all my apps.
Yeah, I know. What is this either the guy at the ground who's like entering the score? What is that?
No, it's
flash
because our
score?
streams are behind, bro. Our streams are behind.
Yeah, I know.
Your stream's behind. We need to get some sort of internet. We need to sort out South Australia's internet real quick. So
no.
South
Australia's internet is fine. It's just that the flash score is extremely fast and on point.
Look, and it looks like Ritsu Doan's coming off, and Ito's going to fulfill that right wing back. You know, definitely an attacking selection there from Japan and their coaching.
Well, I wonder, like, are we going to see them really change system now? Just to try and change things up. I'm still in shock.
I'm
somehow winning this game. Well,
Absolutely
Australia have completed. Okay, well, I mean that's not too bad. 214 passes. I mean it's almost 200 less than Japan. 33% of the ball, no shots on target. Like, oh my god, this is ridiculous.
I saw the scoreboard change. I thought that, like, I didn't know what had happened. I thought someone at the ground had made a mistake. It's just gone in from the most dubious of circumstances. This is quite incredible. On the brink of something really special and historic here. As the ball is switched out right to Lewis Miller, and a little backheel attempt didn't quite pan out for Miller there. As Japan look to get forward here, break on transition.
Oh, no.
And Guerrier coming across with a really crucial
fucking
tackle.
Guerrier, man. What a gun.
He's been incredible tonight.
Fucking love that guy.
You know, him and Harry Suter in the back, and Cameron Burgess as well, have been really, really secure under some really building pressure by the Japanese attack. Full credit has to be given as well to Lewis Miller. He found himself in a good position to deliver that ball. And, you know, say what you want about the own goal and the finish and, you know, the lack of two-footedness by the defender in that period. You know, Lewis Miller has basically been torn up by Matoma all game, has barely gotten forward, and the one time he gets forward puts in a pretty good delivery that results in a
come on, man. We're sugarcoating that. Listen.
And it's a chance of Japan. It just ends up in nothing into the grass.
We're in the heat of the moment at the moment. Like, so I'm only reacting to one replay. Like, I have to watch it back again tomorrow. But for me, that just seemed like a really hit and hope kind of shitty cross. That was like...
I don't care. He meant to do it. He meant to do it. It's a shot on target. He meant to do it.
It's not a shot on target, man.
He meant to do it. He meant to do it. Lewis Miller meant to do it, all right? Hashtag Lewis Miller meant to do it, man. Come on, get it trending.
Jeez.
Build him a statue. I don't care.
Yeah, Mama Marchetti is mentioning about when Australia are going to go to their bench. I think this is actually a good situation now for Australia to actually make changes when they're up. To try and as I just because I'm drinking solo.
We just touched on it, but Joey Lynch via Twitter. Jason Guerrier playing like he should have 50 caps by now. Absolutely. He has been absolutely massive for the Socceroos this whole game.
Man.
You know, I thought when we started this stream, it was going to be like, yeah, probably going to leave.
Vince Rigari's tweeted funniest win in Socceroos history, potentially on the cards here.
It is quite funny. It is quite funny, but
It is.
I'm here for it.
It's hilarious. I mean, Japan have had. We should mention Japan have only had 2 shots on target. So,
Australia's defense and Mitch
know,
Duke
Australia's
able to get
defense has been-
forward
I mean,
and put
this
it
is
across.
like-
No one there for Mitch Duke, but that's a really good effort by him to get forward.
Yeah,
and bring
this
that
is
down.
something I said when we were talking on one of the podcasts about the Popovich appointment. And I said I still felt confident about Australia's ability to be well set up to actually get results in these sorts of games because I think Tony Popovich is, very good as a defensive-minded coach to actually get his players set up for a job like this. And, Australia, this has looked quite a lot like Graham Arnold's Socceroos, to be honest with you, in big games as well. So the MO of this group of players is clearly just really well suited to this style of play.
Are you saying that their MO might as well be written in their genetic makeup? Is that what you're trying
I'm saying that their MO is along the lines of Esteban Quintas's South Melbourne. And although it's disgusting to watch, like it works in these games.
Would you say that the MO you're describing could be a reference to some sort of biological matrix made up in every single cell of the Australian diaspora? Is it in fact that Aussie DNA has once again provided the reprieve?
Aussie DNA is constant. I think I might have to agree with you. I think
the Aussie DNA.
No, I'll tell you what. I'll agree with you. If Australia hold on and win this game 1-0, then I'll agree with you that Aussie DNA is still alive and it is.
I just gotta say it. Just like Big Time Rush's most recent tour of Australia, Aussie DNA is back and better than ever. All right.
Well, we got a comment. Have you seen Jack Lang comments? You love to see it. I wonder if he's referring to Aussie DNA.
Yeah, I think he is. Knowing Jack,
Yeah.
I know Jack personally. He's a nice guy.
Oh, you do? Okay, right.
But
I have no idea. So yeah.
Absolutely love to see it.
Oh man.
This is a win for Tui as much as it's a win for Australia because just. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna be bouncing off the walls all night at this point.
it's just Twitter. Twitter is that like
it's only the 67th minute. We gotta hold
it's
it.
only 67 minutes, but Twitter, if like you should just be scrolling through Twitter right now. It is the funniest. Like the reactions and the overreacting is so funny right now.
Well, it's just one of those things. And this is actually a.
I'm actually feeling more comfortable as the game's going on. That's the other thing too.
This is actually a really sweet tweet. Everyone knows that George Nugas, who was a big supporter of the Socceroos, passed away today. He's a huge loss to not just the journalistic community, but the football community as well. And and Ned Nugas, his son, just tweeted, "Yes, do it for Dad" at the Socceroos, and that's really sweet.
That's nice.
And
really nice.
That's very poignant. And now I might just cry on the very first FPF TV, but rest in peace, George Nugas, a real titan of the journalism industry, and someone that I think most people who look for a career in journalism look up to.
Looks like Japan making 2 changes. So yeah, Moriyasu's not mucking around. No surprise. Did you know as well about the Moriyasu Popovich connection? How they played together in Japan?
I was not aware of that. I know that Popovich did have a stint in Japan in his career and a successful stint in Japan as well.
Yeah. And they played together. They're actually quite close friends, I believe. I wasn't able to read. There was an article. I think Joey Lynch did an article
Jordan
on
Boss. Oh, that's awesome.
Go on, Jordan.
Well done.
This is our main source of attack,
and this is
along with just relying on.
It's also just so nice to see. It's just so nice to see an Australian player just take on the line. Not just try and kick it up to a Mitch Duke who's pressing. Like, just take it on. It's all right. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I know. But Jordan Boss is, well, I want to say like the only player in this game for Australia who's actually looked good going forward. So
it's funny tweet by Nick Stoll. Soccer is on the verge of achieving something historic here, proving once and for all that warm-ups are overrated.
That's the other thing too. We've completely forgotten about is that
Nakamura and Kamada now coming on for Japan for Kubo.
Kubo's come off.
Kubo's come off, yes. And
Kamada plays at Palace in the Premier League.
Yes, a player of decent stature. Let's just say it
I'm
that. Put it
surprised.
that way.
See, Maeda is obviously he worked with Ange Postecoglou at Celtic too, and same with Hatate. But Maeda's the type of player that can break lines with his speed and can just kind of cause chaos. I'm kind of wondering if we will still see him at some point. But yeah, I mean, this is it's just I'm still in shock about the fact that if like this is how Australia might break the Japan curse. This, like, really?
And could it? I would love it. This is what I live for, Christian. The chaos of.
You love chaos.
I love it. I feed off it. I'm an avid Jet supporter. Like I live and breathe and live off chaos. And if this is the way the Socceroos do it, I'm here for it. And I'll sing my song and dance about it. An own goal would be perfect and very poignant.
Oh.
Because let's put it this way, like Japan, for all the possession, for all the times they got in between the lines of Australia, they haven't created a big and glorious chance as of yet. A chance that they should really be conceding as the shot goes from outside the box and safely.
Oh, no. That's pretty cold. I mean, Gauchi, like, that's the extent. They had, probably their best chance was that header by Minamino, which went wide.
That was a chance, but yes.
That's it, honestly. Like, Gauchi's done barely anything in this game. So, I mean, again, I go back to it. Like, you can put any Socceroos back 3-5-4, whatever, out there in these types of games, and they seem like they are just able to grind and and defend for their lives. So, yeah, you got to give these players a lot of credit for that. Obviously still with 25 minutes probably to play here, including stoppages. So
well, we thought the first 20 was going to be long. If we made that assumption, this 20 is going to be even longer to get through this. Wow. I suppose an occasion for the very first edition of FBF TV with absolutely no fanfare. We have come in.
This is fitting. These are interesting changes.
I saw, as is Beach.
So it looks like
and Boss is coming off as well with Volupile. Okay.
Not sure why Boss is coming off, but Duke I think is probably fair. Volupile.
Well, I would have liked to seen Apostolos Stamatolopoulos get a chance to get some minutes here.
Boss has been booked. I got to credit Mama Marchetti for that one because Boss is on a yellow. So yeah, fair enough to take him off.
I'll touch on, and also something that's been brought up on the Facebook chat by Jack Lang. I would have liked to seen Stamatolopoulos get a few minutes here, but you can't really. Yeah. You can't really fault Volupile. He scored it on his debut, and he proved that his minutes were vital to that game. So he's really, again, like we said, Popovic has this.
I assume Jack Lang is also of the Nui persuasion. That's why he's wondering about Stammer.
No. No, he's a Queenslander. Well, an adopted Queenslander. Okay. He's up north there, but yes.
There you go.
An avid A-League supporter as my conversion because of all the nights we spent at working night shifts and me talking about it constantly, basically.
I think you're spot on. I think Volupile at the end of the day he proved himself in the last game. He's got those minutes now. So unless he does something like he performs poorly to lose those minutes, then he should have it. So set pieces.
About to swing in a ball for Japan. We'll just let this play out. And Gauchi able to get up and punch it away, crucially. That's some good goalkeeping to command the box by young Joe Gauchi, is this his third cap for the Socceroos now?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, Japan, there you go, another misplaced pass. Like, they can't get in behind at all. Socceroos.
It's not a fact of the Socceroos. Like, of course, they've got plenty of players behind the ball, but it's not just sitting deep players behind the ball. The midfield, the gap between the midfield.
No, they're really compact. They're really compact.
Here's the replay of that cross.
Also, we should mention with Miller, that was a pretty subdued celebration from Popovic because probably he's also thinking what we're thinking, like how on earth are we 1-0 up?
He's like, what the fuck?
What on earth? I think with Miller, I was going to mention, like, man, what a comeback for him because he had the quarterfinal against South Korea where he was a mess when he came on, gave away a penalty, South Korea equalized and went on to win the game. And then since then, his next two appearances, he scored the equalizer against China, and now uh, we're not going to mention what's just come up on my screen. Um, we'll wait for the
Well,
drama to actually come up in the game. Um, but now he's
oh,
got the
and now
points,
we've conceded.
and
Japan
it's now an
have
own goal from
equalised.
Australia. That's what I was going to say because it came up as 1-1 on the score
I
on
did
the.
not see it, and that's
You didn't see it, yeah.
disappointing. I did not see it, absolutely not. But yes, it's an own goal. Cameron Burgess looks like to be the victim of that cross. I mean, the pressure was building. It was going to be tough for Australia to hold out any further, and that
Yeah.
was yeah. It's just it is unlucky,
Who is it? It's
It's
we're gonna
Cameron
have to see it again here.
Cameron
It's actually one of
Burgess.
the subs for Japan who's created it,
Yes, I
and
believe
it's Cameron Burgess. Yeah, left footer. He stuck out his right foot. 1-1.
1-1. It's look like that's disappointing. We're just on a massive high, and now we're going.
That's another one too, man. Like I know. To be fair, the striker whose name is escaping me. You wait. Is it Waiter? Yeah, was behind him, so he probably would have tapped it in if he doesn't stick a leg out. But, oh, that's. I mean, to be fair, like we should match. I just don't feel Australia really deserve to be in front of this game.
Oh,
But still,
absolutely not.
once you have the lead,
It was
yeah.
really fun though when we were.
Oh man, that 18 minutes was just bizarre.
That was like some of the best minutes of my life. Probably secondary to when we were leading against France at the 2022
Yeah, I
World
mean,
Cup.
come on, mate. Come on, mate. We actually, come on.
Oh, that's nice by Lewis Miller. That's really nice.
See, this goes back to my point just then, before he actually kind of got skinned in the build up to the goal. But Lewis Miller's sort of comeback in the national team to becoming a decent contributor has been really good. But now, like I'm actually worried here that Australia are not going to get a result at all. So
Well,
yeah, football. Hey,
we still have a few substitutes that could make their appearance.
surely we have to see Goodwin, Neuer, and Kunda now. You
They-
can't
I feel like,
like.
is Popovic going to play to the draw? I mean, they are pressing down, and there's a chance it's deflected over for
Oh, Jesus.
another Japanese corner.
Australia really need to regroup these next few minutes. Like you can see the second here. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's also Rip Matt Olsen who commented the last time
Just
Australia
about a
beat
minute.
Japan, and that if the streak ends, it should be a public holiday. And then moments later, Japan equalized.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
that's an Olsen
unfortunate.
curse, not an FPF curse.
Yes, the first Olsen curse of FBF TV. It was always bound to happen. We've seen absolutely
First Olsen
everything
curse.
in the most the most sapped build up to a launch of a of live streaming I've ever seen.
Jeez, man, this game looks like it's only heading one way now. This would be way more disappointing than when the Socceroos lost here last time. Oh, what a ball! Oh, jeez.
Well, this has been a game built on what can only be described as shithousery. So, with 12 minutes left to come, held to the leather. I mean, still, if you talk about the result, even as it stands, a draw would still be probably,
Oh
you'd
yeah,
have
no,
to
a draw.
take
You
it.
definitely take it. Yeah,
Absolutely take it. But it was just nice to be winning in Japan. It was nice while
Yeah.
it lasted.
I don't understand why. Clearly, Popovic now is playing for the draw because surely Goodwin and Kunda need to be looked at here to try and bring some life maybe back into the Socceroos. Like now it's just a
Here's
case of
chance. As his
clinging
page
on.
getting down the left hand side, and he's caught on
And
halfway
that's yeah.
by the
You remove the Jordan Boss factor, I guess. But yeah, I just not too sure now if the Socceroos like the confidence hit of that too, if they're going to be able to see this out now to at least get a point. Like I hope so, but now all the confidence and the momentums of Japan. So
Well, yeah, you'll need to. I mean, it's only going to happen on transition. I mean, it was only ever going to
yeah,
happen in transition. I mean, to
like
be
a moment like this, but that ball has to go forward. Doesn't. That's fine.
That's right. I think again, you were saying that Australia were woefully in possession in the first half. I think that's actually something they've improved upon in the second half. I have to
It's
say.
been a bit better. Actually, I was gonna just mention and I saw again mention our guy Petr Petrov tweet it too, but Yazbek's actually been quite good since he come on. Been pretty tidy in
And a
possession,
yellow
hasn't really
card
done much
for
wrong,
Yazbek there.
and
Pretty rough foul.
he gets a yellow card as soon as I was praising his performance.
Wow.
Yeah,
The curses have just started coming thick and fast, have they?
yeah.
I'm just like intently watching this scoreboard.
I think Australia now are gonna actually totally shit house the game and just try and get a 1-1. That's what it looks like.
Well,
So
I mean, again, like that was sort of what we should have. I mean, realistically, what the game plan should have been to get a draw.
yeah,
At any point here on Japanese soil would be really good.
good.
As
Poor
Beige
touch.
couldn't quite get a hold of that one. But yes, if anyone wishes to blame anyone, it shouldn't be Cameron Burgess. It shouldn't be Lewis Miller who got burned on the wing. It's definitely Matt Olsen's fault that we have conceded a goal.
Yeah, obviously.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's Matt Olsen's fault.
And he's not here to defend himself, so we'll keep saying that.
Unless he has this stream open whilst he's watching the game, then he can defend himself in the comments. Yeah, but
Looks like Bacchus coming on as a right
for
back. To be
Miller. Okay. We're getting this a really interesting Tony Popovich experience in these couple of games, I have to say.
absolutely.
So Bacchus, for context, he has played right back before.
Yes, for Western Sydney
in his
Wanderers.
career. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
of the Wanderers for a little bit. So I guess he could play. It looks like Miller's actually carrying something. That's why he's coming off here. Maybe an injury.
Not exactly.
So I guess
not exactly the position the Socceroos really want to be carrying injuries at right back.
No, because who knows? Our boy Gethin might be back in the squad if there's a few more, couple more injuries. But I guess Bacchus could do a job at right wing back for 15 minutes. I mean, Jesus, this is going to be 15 long minutes, far out.
If it was going to be long before, it's going to be long now.
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, the frustrating thing about that equalizer was like how kind of out of nowhere it came. Like we were kind of talking about how Gauchi had done nothing. Japan had really not looked good in possession at all. They looked poor in the final third, and then to give away a goal like that is really frustrating.
Look, it's actually quite poetic that Japan, having all the attack and all the possession that they had, conceded an own goal to see Australia take the lead. That Australia just had to give it back because they just felt bad.
It's actually almost like a football justice in a way, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. What else can you say?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Irankunda or Goodwin in this game. I think the way the game has gone, he's going to keep them unused for this game.
Wow.
They're going to play for a draw.
Here's a interesting stat by Andrew
We win
Howe,
this ball? No.
the stat master of Australian football here. All-time scorers for Australia in 8 internationals for the men's team. 50, obviously, Tim Cahill. 29, Damien Murray. 28, Archie Thompson. 27, John Aloisi. 25 with Attila Ebonyi and John Cosmina. 22, own goal.
No way.
Absolutely. I'm not
22
a crackpot here.
Oh, God. Good claim by Gauchi.
Very good claim by Joe Gauchi.
22, yeah. I mean, I guess that's 22 own goals over 100 years of the Socceroos. So, that's in that context, it's not that much, but still a lot, I guess. Quick, like Damien Murray, man, like second with 29, like
he was
that's
a goal
quite
machine.
that's quite underrated.
He was the GOAT of the Oceania era, bro. Like,
yeah. To
he
be
was an
fair,
Oceania
when you're beating up on fucking Tahiti and Solomon, with all due respect, it's a little bit different than what we're playing with here. Oh God, that's not good distribution. Australia really clinging on, man. This is
trying to be Nostradamus here. 95th minute Sutar header, 2-1 win.
I'm worried it could be a fucking 95th minute Japan winner instead, and we've actually gone from from the 60th minute going, oh my God, what the fuck, comments of we're going to win the World Cup, to oh my God, how did we lose this game?
Yeah, again, we can definitely blame a couple of our fellow FPF contributors
Yeah, well,
for
we got to
this.
blame Jack Holland for suggesting that Australia are going to win the World Cup after
Well, no,
one.
we can't win the World Cup. We have Popovich as a coach. The best we can do is runners up. All right.
That's such an overused joke at this point, man.
But it's a good meme, and I'm sticking to
It
it.
is a good meme, but it's so overused.
I'm slapstick comedy only. Like I just just same jokes, put them through the washing machine, let them all come out at the same time. All right, I'm
Uh,
nothing if not consistent, my friend. I'm nothing if not consistent.
oh, this is interesting. Did you see this tweet? Japan's coach, so Moriyasu, is the father of former Edgeworth Eagles midfielder Keigo Moriyasu. Do you know who that is? You should know. That's that's your area. Oh, can Socceroos go
Um,
forward here?
yeah. Look, I'm a zone Premier League aficionado, not a NPL
Ah,
New South
yes.
Wales.
Third tier Northern New South Wales, not
Yeah.
first. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So, ask me questions about how Dudley
Oh
Red
my god.
United
Oh my
managed
god.
to.
Look at Ito. What the fuck?
I had to mention Dudley Red United on this stream for the national team, didn't I? I just had to do it.
Jesus, man. This guy
Kieran
is
Backus, that
going.
was really good defending, to be fair.
I think he more hit it into him, to be honest with you. But
Oh, we just had to be there and thereabouts, all right? Don't.
listen, we'll take it. These subs to Japan have definitely made a difference for sure.
Oh,
Um,
Ito's
yeah.
introduction, I think, has probably Ito and it was who set up the goal,
Oh, jeez,
Kamada
everyone's gone in.
as well, coming on for
Oh,
Minamino.
and Backus got skinned this time.
And a chance here for Japan. It's in the box, bumbling around. They managed to sort of
Fuck.
scramble it away out to the 18-yard box. And they managed to win a free kick. A bit of reprieve for the
Yeah.
Socceroos.
Oh, well,
This
Aziz
actually,
Behich will be a little bit nervous at the moment too, because last time we played in Saitama
here's
here,
the
it
change.
was...
Here's the change that
Oh,
it's Adrian
okay.
Hurstich coming off, Craig Goodwin coming on,
Okay, we are going to see Craig Goodwin.
and this match has officially gone all SA great, with Riley McGree and
Well,
Craig
no,
Goodwin.
because there's no Ewan Kunda, so not quite. SA great.
I was making an SA great, just
Well, I wasn't allowing it. But
why are you the adjudicator of SA great? Antonis Pagonis he's not
yeah,
here.
well, he's not here, is he? Oh, what's
Deputy. Oh, please don't be injured.
Rustich?
No, he's
Oh,
walking. He's just walking. He's just walking.
okay. Um, yeah. So, okay, Craig Goodwin's basically got 7 minutes to make an impact. Like, not too sure what the point of
Well-
this is now. Like, maybe 10 minutes ago that would have been a bit more necessary. But
If I was Craig Goodwin, I'd be on that bench. I would be getting some WoW songs, all right, getting my chakras aligned, and just imagining that this is just Adelaide Oval. Just going, this is Adelaide. I'm in Adelaide right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Adelaide is where I've always scored goals. All right?
actually, how many?
I'm all-
What is the attendance at Saitama? Like, if that's because that looks full. So we got the.
I do not have the official.
Let me
attendance.
do a quick. How many does that hold? Saitama Stadium. 63,700. So that is more than Adelaide Oval. So there's about 18,000 more people in that stadium than what there was against China. And Craig Goodwin gets a yellow first involvement. Oh, that's the high one too.
Yeah, that's not great. That doesn't look good. Hopefully there's no further checks out. I don't think there was anything more in it than that yellow card, but it means he misses the next match of qualifying. Which
Oh fuck.
is
Okay,
not
that's
good.
excellent. That is going to be Saudi, isn't it? Gee,
yeah, that's going to be a talking point.
you
for
fucking
sure.
kidding me? Are you serious, man? That is not good.
Oh, goodness me. Well,
Oh, this game has gone so shit after somehow being in a decent position.
well, you know what?
Few comments, man. We
I'm
got
just
here.
having
What's this? Rustich has been poor tonight. Jack Holub says.
Oh, I don't know if it's Horulstich has been a non-effect. I don't know if I can call him.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't. I guess he hasn't really been involved, but it's really hard for me to judge like the Socceroos attacking players in a game like this when, like, we just can't bypass the press or get past the midfield line either. I don't know.
It's a bit of a a difficult issue to make comment on. Maybe upon review, there was a few parts where Horulstich tried to turn and he just got caught out by the defenders. But yeah, I mean, it would be in my opinion, harsh to comment too much on the performance by Hill or Stitch.
I mean, the Socceroos have still only had 1 shot and 0 on target. I mean, that's pretty. One thing, actually, I was saying before about um
And
the
it's just gone
Popovich
down.
Arnold comparisons in these big
Craig
games,
Goodwin in the
but
corner here, just
yeah, I think it's is it Goodwin or
able
yeah,
to win the throw for
I think it's
Australia.
Beige.
5 additional minutes of stoppage time
5 minutes, okay.
added on.
But
5 extremely long minutes for anyone in the green and gold, i.e. me.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they've actually been able to secure the ball here in the attacking half, but I mentioned, yeah, like comparisons to Popovich and Arnold in these big games. But to be honest with you, we actually were more of a threat going forward with Arnold in these big games. So, like, I think of the South Korea quarterfinal, we had plenty of chances in that game, for example, in the Asian Cup. So,
Bumbling along,
I don't,
Japan managed to get it
we have
away.
not had a shot on target in this game. Like, this has been total terrorism.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at the level
Football
of
terrorism, just to clarify. Yeah.
yes, yeah, let's refrain from using that sort of that's sort
Well,
of
no. I
description.
think it's everyone knows kind of what I mean when I use that. I'm
Yes,
assuming.
everyone knows what you're like. I'm pulling your leg. I think that, in those big games, I mean, I suppose the only bigger nation that we've seen the Socceroos face in the last couple of years would have to be France in the 2022 World Cup. Is that correct? And, you know,
Well, what do you mean by big in age? Because I would still say that Tunisia and Denmark are better teams technically than us still. I think,
I
well,
think
I
I
don't know
think
about Tunisia, but Denmark definitely have
I'm
more technical
actually
quality
I'm
than
just
us.
paying credit to the class of Japan. Like, I think Japan are a
Oh, yeah.
class above
Yeah.
South Korea, and if you're looking at the
Yeah.
pedigree of teams that Australia's faced, I feel like apart from France, Japan are, the next best that Australia have
Well,
had to
I'd
face in the
actually
last couple of
argue that
years.
this Japan team is better than the Denmark team we played at the World Cup.
Absolutely, I think the results prove that, especially.
Maybe that was like that Denmark team. There might have been some other things going on that was leading to their underperformance. But like Japan, you can tell what a well-oiled machine this is. These guys are definitely going to win the group. Like that's no doubt. Now that this game looks like it's, they're not going to lose it. Yeah,
Well, yes, a very nervy 3 minutes, but yeah, I think that. Look, yeah, chance creation has been low, but you can't fault. Like, Japan have snuffed everything out. Like, they've defended without.
there's not much to stuff out, was there? Like,
Well, again, like,
no,
there's.
they've pressed well. Yeah, they've counter pressed well too. I
Like,
think that's fair.
I'll
But
we'll check the possession stats, during the full time interval, but, like, I'd be very surprised if Australia had any more than, like, 35% possession. I'd
yeah,
be
well,
extremely
I've got
surprised.
it here right now. I think right now it's at 34. So
Exactly,
yeah,
yeah. So,
it'll end up with that. But I mean, honestly, it's 34. I think that's improved in the second half. Like if things had kept going the way it was in the first half, we would end up like fucking 23. So you know, but really, it's not so much about amount of possession, more what you do with it. Can we go forward here? Forward.
and it's just hoofed
Jesus
forward.
fucking Christ, man.
Bit
Okay.
of bit of tactics there, just get some field possession.
Yeah, well, mate, this is not Steeden Ball, where you're living
I
at the
know.
moment
Sorry,
in
that's Gilbert
bloody New
Ball.
South Wales. It's not territory.
All right,
It's
go play your silly rugby on a cricket pitch then. I don't care.
I don't I'm not what it's football, mate. Football.
Football. Whoa,
Oh
whoa.
God. Oh,
This is not good.
that's a booking of some sort. What color?
Yellow for Cameron Burgess as well.
Tough second half for Cameron Burgess.
Yeah, clear yellow. Just
Yeah, well, that's obvious. You're always going to do that in that scenario. Tactical.
tried to reach into his heart and rip it out.
Yeah, rip it out. Fair enough. All
Absolutely.
good.
As we start to approach the final minute or thereabouts of this one, still the Socceroos holding on for a draw.
Set piece.
Ito able to swing it in for Japan, and again scrambling in the box. The Socceroos able to block that shot attempt by Japan and hoof it forward once more. Still about 40
That'll
seconds.
probably be that, man. Well, unless Goodwin
Still about 40 seconds left of play. Still about 40 seconds left of play here. Japan able to get it wide.
Oh fuck.
against Ito. It's a great ball, and Suta
Jesus, man.
had to get up and get up quickly, and again has been one of Australia's best tonight for sure.
Oh, he's been
Him
fantastic.
and him and Jason Guerrier, and to be fair, Cameron Burgess up until the point where he scored the own goal had been pretty terrific as well.
Jason Guerrier, in the space of three halves of football, has gone from we're not sure if this guy's going to play at all to he's one of the first names on the team sheet against Saudi. So in the next qualifiers, like
Look,
my God,
oh goodness me, that's a good take from Joe Gauchi.
play him.
I've been impressed by Joe Gauchi tonight. To be honest, I think that he's commanded the box well.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. No, he's yeah. It's actually on high balls has been an area that's always been kind of one that's been critical of him, but he's been good tonight.
and that'll probably just about do it. Yeah, it's full time
Yeah.
at the Saitama Stadium. 1-1. Own goals all round. Everyone was giving gifts. It was like Christmas. But, you know, all in all, apart from the disappointment that Australia were leading and then conceded a dubious own goal, 1 point on the Japanese mainland is a pretty decent result in the context of Australia's qualification hopes.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you told any Socceroos fan before the game you're going to get a 1-1 draw tonight, like everyone would have been pretty happy with that. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens later. If Saudi win against Bahrain, then that makes this a little bit more of an annoying point because, of course, Australia were 1-0 up. In saying that, I have no idea how Australia were 1-0 up in this game. I think, listen, obviously there's a massive gap between Australia and Japan. That was clearly underlined in this game. Australia are not at the level to be able to play like football against Japan and actually get on the front foot. Like that's pretty clear now that we've seen like the last few games that these two teams have played. But in saying that, like I still think Australia could have been better in possession in this game. Like that was pretty turgid at times. The carelessness on the ball and like how easy it was for Japan's press to suffocate Australia. So yeah. All in all though, Jack, if we're talking the result, then I think we have to be happy. Basically now though, that if Saudi win later against Bahrain, then that game on the 14th, Saudi at home, is massive. Like that's a huge game.
Huge
Australia
game.
must win. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, I feel like whilst, you know, there's only so much confidence you can take from a draw that involved two own goals, you know, I think defensively, pretty secure. You know, I mean, Japan had 12 shots, but only one on target, one big chance, really, which was probably that Minamino header that went wide. You know, they had to, you know, withstand a barrage of corners. Australia did not have a corner that entire match. 9 corners, 2-0. No corners.
bro, we didn't have a shot on target. Fuck corners.
Yeah, I know. I'm just going through the stats. Leave me alone. You know, I mean, just the difference in passes. Like Japan made about 600 passes in that game, 599 to be exact, and Australia only, you know, making 329, and that shows because they had double the amount of possession. You know, 70%, 65% versus 35%. In the final whistle. Australia also, probably a little bit of a concern, 4 yellow cards collected with Craig Goodwin. Was it Craig Goodwin who's missing out on the next stage?
Yeah, so that's
Qualification.
important to mention. So Goodwin misses the Saudi Arabia game, which is really shit.
Cameron Burgess
And-
picks up a yellow card in this one as well, which is...
And so did Jordan Boss. I think
And
those two will
Patrick.
be fine.
and Patrick
because-
Yazbek, but...
Yeah, I think they're fine because that was their first yellows. I think
Yeah.
Goodwin, that was his second yellow of qualifying. So that's probably why he's missing Saudi. So that's another now obstacle to get around. Because no doubt he would have been one of our key players against Saudi. I mean, that's a discussion point too. Like,
Well, look, let's talk about it. Let's bring it up. That's a big discussion point because Craig Goodwin,
yeah,
in a game against Saudi, like, I mean, he's probably our most informed player. You know, he's been obviously playing some good football.
well, I think in a game like that where Australia can get more on the front foot, then yeah, like he is absolutely key. The other thing I was going to mention was the no sign of Aaron Kunda at all in this game, which I think was understandable with how the game played out, but I don't know why. Like, this is, I guess, a criticism of Popovich where I think is fair enough is being reactive and not proactive, where, like, Australia went 1-0 up, they didn't deserve it. it was completely ridiculous that they were even 1-0 up. But then you're given that opportunity, go and make a couple of big attacking changes and try and go 2-0 up. Like actually try and then take advantage a little bit more and maybe instead of shutting up shop so quickly, try and see if you can shock Japan again and get a second goal. Like it's possible. Who knows? With try and test the confidence of Japan a little bit, I feel. But again, like you can't really I don't think anyone can get all sort of Popovich this, Popovich that. At the end of the day, it's his first two games. They beat China, which they had to do, and they got a draw in Japan. They got 4 points from the six. Have to be happy. So
you can't really complain with the results, and like you said, you can wish and say, oh, Australia should have started taking the game a little bit more. I think there was, look, I keep bringing it up, but I think it's pertinent. It was in the sort of infancy of my time at Front Page Football, but I jumped on a pod after that France v Australia game, and there was sort of this discussion of like, we went 1-0 up and then what? And that's what happened. I don't think that really happened here. We went 1-0 up, fortunately, and it wasn't like, what now? It was more just like, okay, let's all right, we're 1-0 up. Let's keep doing what we're doing. It's been effective so far. And again, it was reasonably, if not completely effective. The stats are in Australia's favour in terms of a defensive unit. It's just unfortunate that the goal came about as it did. And it's equally unfortunate the goal came about as it did against Japan. So I think a lot of people will go, oh, well, sort of this argument is like, oh yeah, trust Popper not to take the game on after he goes 1-0 up against.
No, but see, but I've been saying this.
I think it's just an easy cop out. That's all I'm trying to say.
No, exactly, because I've been saying this. I was saying this to someone today. I think it was my dad. We were having a conversation about this game, and I was saying, like, at the end of the day, any issues that you see with the Socceroos in this game, don't blame it on the coach or the players. Blame it on the systemic issues that have built over 10 to 15 years. That's what it's always going to come back to, because, like, let's make no mistake here. I'm already seeing some comments on Twitter and stuff like, oh, we should definitely be pleased with the defensive shift of the Socceroos and their ability to grind out a result away from home. Yeah, great, no worries. But this can't be the end game for Australia as a national team. You can't be happy with going to Japan and not getting a shot on target. That's the thing. So we're looking at a short-term perspective right now of the result and going, great result and great defensive performance. But I'm always looking long-term and I'm thinking, man, like this gap can't be getting wider like this. Like, this is ridiculous. You can't not have a shot on target in a game as the Australian national team.
I think this contributes, like, poignantly sums up by Alex Molchanov, who, for those who don't know, is, on the Global Game with SEN, every single week with Simon Hill, and he's just tweeted out, very lucky, but so are Japan. But he put even more emphasis that the November window is massive. Saudi and Melbourne, Bahrain away.
Big time.
And we'll go, like he says, we'll go most of the way to deciding the next spots. Just bang on 6 points or another playoff qualification route beckons. And that's actual truth. There's not much opportunity for Australia to put themselves in the position to automatically qualify then in the next window. It's crucial. Yeah. And
I think so. Indonesia started in China winning 1-0, which is interesting. That's actually a good result for Australia, just to keep Indonesia away from the top two.
Just to get a little bit more pressure off Australia, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, just going back, Craig Goodwin out of the squad for the next window. Who are you looking to perhaps fill?
Oh, now you put me on the spot.
That's an interesting conversation. I want to bring. Well, I think head off.
The interesting thing about that is, when that window comes around, will be a month into the A-League season. So I don't know if anyone could emerge in domestically, but then also this opens the door now for a Martin Boyle or an Awa Mobile to be recalled, probably, with, looking for a winger now to come back in. It probably helps someone like Nishan Velupillay staying in the squad for the next window too. Iran Kunda will stay in the squad. So, yeah, I think, it probably also helps if you're someone who thinks Nesteri Nkunda should get more minutes for the Socceroos. Well, now one of those obstacles, I guess, in the way of Craig Goodwin isn't there. So, hopefully, but I think as well, like, I think Hrustic and McGree in this system, it could be any two of Hrustic, McGree, or Goodwin starting. in those half spaces, in those 10 roles, and I wouldn't really be too upset about it. And now I think McGree and Hrustic probably have those roles going forward looking to Saudi, but also depends on their club form and how that's going too. Hopefully Hrustic can continue to get minutes with Salernitana in the Serie B, and maybe actually find a bit more form in terms of goals and goal contributions too. So the A League's going to be interesting though, because there's always someone who emerges early as like a, you know, maybe those like meme kind of Yakless discussions we're having earlier might actually be a bit more serious come November. Who knows?
Well, yeah. I think you touched on it. It's like Awer Mabil. I think that, obviously because he had a tough time at Cadiz in La Liga and he's just sort of getting his career back on track at Grasshopper in Switzerland. It was sort of, I suppose, I thought it was a little bit crap. I don't know. I just like that he was left out of the Socceroos. I quite liked his involvement in the Socceroos, and obviously it was just because of his club position that he was left in. This is an excellent opportunity for him to really stamp his authority, who at one point was looking like to be that Socceroos winger who's going to break it into Europe. Like when he signed for Cadiz from FC Midtjylland from
In Denmark, yeah.
Denmark. There we go.
Yeah.
It was right on the tip of my tongue. He was looking like that winger who was going to break into the European scene, and it's so far not really worked out for him. But I'd be really pleased to see Awer Mabil back in the squad in place of...
Oh, man, sorry. Oh my God, that's actually so funny. We all know Matt Vandenberg. So
Yes, we all...
you know how he does the the tweet where he goes on like the full-time posts and he replies underneath with like, that's the deal, I'm no longer a fan, I've been supporting this since like 19. He did it under Japan's full-time post in Japanese characters. That is gold, man. That is so funny.
Shout out Matt Vandenberg. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's good. That's good. That is good fodder. That's awesome.
Oh man.
Well, let's use that excellent transition. Transition? Yeah, let's go with that. To talk about what we're actually here to do. Not a lot of fanfare because this is going to be a dubious live stream, but I think that I'm extremely pleased with how this has gone. Really appreciate everyone from joining in. Lack of awareness that this is going on. But what are we here to do? We are here to watch football and just have fun whilst doing it, which is basically what Front Page Football does, along with some really interesting and serious journaling. Check it all out on Front Page Football.
Yeah, along with actual serious things. Yes,
absolutely. But we have a lot of fun whilst doing it. I think that's definitely definitely a tick. So we will be here sporadically. We don't have a set schedule in terms of A-League matches. However, Friday night, it is the grand final rematch. Central Coast Mariners are taking on the Melbourne Victory. The A-League is back. All very exciting stuff. Already very exciting to see what kind of narratives are going to play out this season. And I will be joined live on Facebook and on YouTube by the one, the only Jake Holub for that stream. Right?
Is that Jake or Jacob?
Look, I'll have to ask Alfred to see if Batman's available, but we'll take Bruce Wayne if it's not.
Oh, man.
If he's not. But be sure to follow us on all our socials on X, Twitter. I know I say X, Twitter. Facebook, Front Page Football. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us at, of course, frontpagefootball.net for all of our updates in Australian football. Christian Marchetti, have you got anything else to add to what we've seen here, Socceroos v Japan?
Well, I just yawned, so that was my addition to the conversation, I guess. I think I just want to reiterate to anyone still listening, great result, enjoy the result, but know that the gap between us and Japan should not be ignored, and long term, this cannot be the end game. The way the Socceroos are playing in a game like this is all I want to say. But I am happy with the result, and it was a really good window, 4 points from 6. So, yeah, have to take it.
Well, thank you very much for joining me on a little bit of short notice. I think it's been reasonably successful, and I've certainly enjoyed the very first edition of FPF TV. We'll be back on Friday night. I think it's a 7:45 kickoff I will definitely confirm that because I need to be on time. And
Maybe 7:35.
7:35. There we go.
Yeah.
Numbers are hard, people. Anyway, until
I
next
think you've
time.
got some time between now and Friday to confirm that.
Absolutely. I mean, we do have this powerful tool called the internet as I try to sign off. So, again, just to reiterate, Chris says, enjoy the result. Thank you very much for joining us. And until next time, it's